thanks. We appreciate everybody being here already. See you, Master Known, X3, and Josiah Allen. Like I said, appreciate everybody being here. This is, of course, Friday's live stream. This was our first full week of trying to do daily streams, and I thought it was pretty damn successful. Thought it was pretty good. So, before we get into anything, as I always say, if you are new here and you're not a part of our Discord and you'd like to join, you can join our Discord page. And if there's a topic that you see throughout the week or a day coming up or anything like that that you would like for us to talk about, you can just send that in the Discord there, and then we will talk about that on the live stream. It is also a way for you to interact with a growing community that is constantly, it's a constant conversation in the Discord, and I love every minute of it. I love seeing the conversations that are taking place in it. And if you would like to be a part of that, you can join. And when we do our giveaways, that is the easiest way for us to get in contact with you, for you to give us your mailing information. So if that is something you'd like to be a part of, you can click the link that should be down below in the bio. And if it's not in the bio, we will get it sent in the chat there. Click that link, and on a cassette, you can join the Discord.
Hey, don't forget, we're also in there too, so it's something that, hell, I was chatting with some of our regular viewers earlier, it's our first chance to talk to us. We think about new things that drop before we even go live about them. I mean, it's just it's a cool community growing there. There's a lot of cool people. It's a great conversation.
Definitely so. As always, we'll start the show out with Trey. How was your week? Your day, rather.
It was good, man. Played some God of War, took the kid to school, hung out with my baby. Pretty normal day. Just kind of got ready for this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been to works for a while, so I'm a bum right now, man.
No, I bet I would. Again, I'm always going to say I miss working from home, but I would love to be a bum back at home.
It's weird. No, my boss called me the other day because I needed to do some paperwork for work. I haven't been back for a month and a half right now. Got that baby leave, and I'm literally I was talking to him, and I'm like, yo, this is fucking weird. It's like I don't work. I don't know how to feel about this, but I'm not complaining because I get to spend time with the baby and the kid, and easy for the wife,
Right. Hugh, how was your day?
That's really cool, man.
As it's getting colder, I don't know, I like the cold, so as it gets cold, my days are getting better.
Like the cold.
Yeah, I do. I prefer to be cold rather than sitting around being sweaty or hot or some shit or running around in the heat. I just prefer the cold, so
I'm right there with him.
Days have been well. I'm getting ready for the holidays, watching sports, just same old work. Yeah. Work's also better in the cold to me, too. I don't dread walking around.
Cold and holidays.
Not holidays, but...
Hey, I like the holidays. I enjoy seeing the people that make me happy.
You can do you can Zoom call them.
That villain-ass statement you just made. Ugh.
See, it's RSV season going on right now for little kids. My wife's like, should we even go to any of the the family get-togethers because we don't want to get the baby sick and I'm like, fuck, you gave me an excuse not to go.
Yeah, I hate the cold. God, I hate the cold. Every time I got out of my car today, because I was running errands today. I went to work this morning, but took off a little earlier in the afternoon, and then had some errands to run, and every time I got out, it's one of those colds where you're like, fuck, when you're, trying to put your key in the door. Oh, bro, outside. It's cold. It is cold as shit. Well, I'm sorry, you're a good 80 pounds heavier than I am, so it might be for you, but for me, it is freezing. It ain't even start
snowing or nothing yet, bruh.
Nah, it was getting a little bit.
You gotta wait till we get to that 10-degree mark. That's when it's like, yes, sir.
I hate this time of year. Hate it. Hate it. I'm just the Grinch every time it comes around. Like, my mood changes with the seasons, bro. Like, I swear I got, a different personality. Like, I'm not even the same person that I am in the summer. So,
you're just wake up. What day is it? Young man, what day is it? It's Christmas, sir. Fuck
the season.
Damn it.
Seasonal depression, bro. Just got seasonal anger. It was some cold and just pissed.
But see, I'm the opposite because it get hot. I mean, not even hot. It gets 85 to 90.
I'm pissed.
Thick boy's sweating.
As soon as
I'm not pissed. I'm uncomfortable.
No, but I get pissed when I sweet, and so as soon as I see a drop of sweat,
I'm like, I'm smelling BOs.
For me, I'm I'm anemic, so That's why I wear hoodies in the summer. Like you guys
You
have
and my
seen me
wife.
with hoodies in the summer because
I just wear hoodies in the summer because I'm light skinned.
I
don't
wear
wanna
them
be
because
black.
I'm never like hot. Like I never get like I'm comfortable during the summer, but this I'm shaking now. I'm so uncomfortable. But some people are like, turn on your heat. No, my gas bill. I don't want to. No.
I'm saying 'cause in summer we'll walk in here and it's cold as fuck in the house. That's the part that be confusing me. 'Cause I don't
keep
like
it
the
cold.
cold, and then you get here in the
Well,
summer,
here's the thing.
in your house on SpongeBob.
But most of the time, I'm in my bed, under my blanket, watching whatever's on TV and on my phone. So, like,
But see, now what's
I have
weird
this
is-
house, but I don't fucking
So,
use it.
my wife's anemic, right? But me, my son, and we've learned now, my daughter, it is 30 degrees out. We have the fan on, full blast, and no covers on, right? Sweating. That's just how we are. We're just hot people. And so
No, I don't do
even
that
my
one.
daughter is like, I walked through the house and was like, it's not really that cold, but like, we have a baby, so I have to at least keep it to a certain temperature. I go in there, she's sweating. And I'm just like, maybe not. She's one of mine. Like, she's a breed of me.
No, I can't do that. I have to be under my blanket, but I have to sleep in the cold. I can't be hot and sleep, because if I'm hot and sleep and I'm waking up cussing, then maybe my dogs might have done something. Now I'm taking frustrations out on them, and nobody's safe. And so,
hey, shout out to everybody joining in the comments. See people are getting in here. So Yuri G, D Stizzle, Pookie Wood, Ty Valentine, Groovy Fee, and Oscar. What's going on, you guys? Glad to see y'all getting in here.
yes, appreciate you guys.
That's another thing too. Just dress better in the cold. Oscar's it fits better being in the cold. I feel like.
I will say that I like the way I get to dress. I do like the way I get to dress, because when I do go to show up to
It's
games,
hoodie season, bro.
events, or whatever,
got hoodie season tatted on.
I mean, everybody typically knows when I step out, I
He stepping out.
I do my shit. I do my shit.
He's stepping.
See, I'm the opposite unless I'm going to some kind of like going out. I'm a dad, dude.
But see,
I show up to my kid's school and I'm like,
Yeah, see, you're
holy,
a dad.
I'm in holy fucking sweatpants,
You have
a ripped
children.
up fucking hoodie, and some
Yeah,
flip
bro.
flops.
Like,
and
you
no
got
socks.
kids, a
Yeah, you
wife.
have
Like, your life
children.
quest is done, bro. Like,
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
That's
I'm
something I never. I thought I wanted. At one point in time, I did. I think 2020 made me an introvert.
But see, I'm not a morning person at all, right? Like at all. So there've been whole times.
You said you're
where-
not a what person?
Morning person.
Oh, okay.
So like there've been whole times I gotta drop my kid off in the morning, and again I look like I look fucking horrible, right? I'm just wearing whatever the fuck to get him to school, and I'm looking at all these nice dressed for the weather parents, and in my head I'm just like, I want to fucking murder all of you. What are you doing?
What elementary does he go to?
Monroe.
Monroe.
They're on Lindsay and-
trying to curse that?
Oh,
Put some kind of spell on that. Did you repeat Candyman or some shit? Like,
Okay.
you go to the bathroom and say Monroe 3 times. The school's cursed.
Anyway, we know that you guys are here to listen to us talk about boring old Oklahoma shit. So we're going to talk to you guys about the things you want to talk about. So let's answer Ty there. What's the question Ty had there at the top?
Yeah. He said...
Do you guys think Disney is forcing Nate Moore and Ryan Coogler to push an agenda and not bring back black male representation, given that Robert Downey Jr. didn't?
No.
I don't think that they're...
They didn't have the same impact that T'Challa did.
I don't think so, because Disney did it with BP1 and made $1 billion doing it. I think this is strictly Ryan and Nate Moore making this a passion project is what it was.
Yeah, I'll agree.
And then the Disney going, we'll trust y'all because y'all made us $1 billion bucks, so we're going to back up off of it. Because, like, Ty also followed up with RDJ and CE, that's Chris Evans, didn't have the same impact that T'Challa did. I will fully disagree and say that Robert Downey Jr. is the biggest person that's ever been and ever probably will be in the MCU. Robert Downey Jr.'s impact is...
It is, but when it comes to the character of T'Challa, the cultural impact that he had was not a cultural, like, nobody was doing that for Iron Man 2, hell, not for Iron Man 3.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're talking strictly cultural, sure, but I'm saying just the impact of the success of the franchise. And it's my boy Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, now that he is the godfather.
Two
of
different impacts.
the MCU.
Right.
I mean, but what I'll say to his question though is I don't think it's Disney forcing Nate Moore, Ryan Coogler, but I do not like the way that black males have been presented to us on Marvel's platform, whether that's from Sam to T'Challa to Fastos to whoever else, to Rhodey, who I just haven't been in agreement with it at all times. So.
Not Heimdall.
Yeah.
No, Heimdall, yeah.
None of it, like very little have I just been in agreement with.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel you guys.
And I mean, I think it's just. I said this earlier. I think Disney's just doing this thing right now, where they're doing a lot of checking boxes of. They're making sure that they have their boxes checked of representation, just to have the box checked, not to tell a rich, honest story that correctly and gives depth to the culture or type of person they're representing. They're gonna make sure they have the gay kiss in the movie, but we didn't even fucking know they were in a relationship before that kiss happened because they didn't delve into the character story, right? We'll make sure we have a couple black guys in the movie, but we're not gonna give them honest, great roles. They're gonna be the sidekicks and the backups to the main lead roles. Like, that's the thing. I think they're just more worried about checking the box than they are actually filling that box out correctly. That's just me.
Yeah, no, like I said, we all know how I feel, so. But dude, like I said, I gave my answer to the question. So, like I said, appreciate everybody being here. We got some things that we have got to get into. Yeah, I see Ty said, yes, that was my point, cultural. Yeah, cultural. No, nobody in the MCU can touch what T'Challa has done, what that character, what that franchise in the MCU has done culturally. None of them. Now, on a different side of the argument, that other names could be had, but culturally, no. So, I figured that's what you were talking about. Pookie Wood said, just chilly and rainy here in Austin. Josiah Allen said, D-Stizzle. My man, what's the other? Having fun in the community.
We're going to read their side conversation. What's up?
So, yeah. A little off the top here. This was actually something I meant to put in, but I forgot to put it in. I know. Did you guys see? I posted it, so I'm sure you guys saw it. But out there, chat, did you guys see that White Tiger is supposed to be also showing up in Daredevil?
They actually wanted us to talk about it yesterday. There were a couple comments in the live yesterday telling us about it.
I'm not friends with you on social media.
I didn't see it until last night after I got off the stream. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, no way. And then thought to myself, Daredevil Born Again is easily... Now you've got Spider-Man. Now you've got the rumored White Tiger. You've got now also, not rumored, but Kingpin and the events that's going to be happening with that. And bleeding into Spider-Man 4.
New York City, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, this is easily now becoming one of my favorite or most anticipated MCU shows, and on top of that, it is supposed to be rated TVMA, and I'm like, okay, so they're actually going to try to go really keep it on kind of on par with what Netflix tried to, or what Netflix did do.
You can go back a year ago, me talking about what the direction I thought Marvel was headed, where you have like your space adventures and then like your intercontinental, intercountry related heroes, and then you have street level. Because on every fucking street corner in New York, what is there is another hero. And they all can intersect, and all the villains can intersect in different, interesting fucking ways. And this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
This is the kind of grimy shit that I want to... I'm sorry, I don't want to see walking gods flying through space, destroying spaceships. I want to see Daredevil trying to whoop somebody's ass in New York City.
Well, I want to see the walking gods and the space shit, but I want to see the street level shit, too. You know, that's my... When it comes to superheroes for me, yes, I love the street level shit. I really do. But as we've had this conversation before, when it comes to superheroes for me, I want to see the flying. I want to see the super strength. I want to see the shit that I can only see if I dream it, because I'll never be. Now, you know, Daredevil, obviously I can't have those senses and shit, but if I was to train for martial arts from day one to now, I bet I could go out there and do some street level shit like that too. But I'll never be able to fly. That's just me. But I am looking forward. I mean, Q, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm iffy. I just hope they handle it well with some. I mean, they made it 18 episodes and everything, which, I mean, I feel like they already have what they want to do with the show in mind and everything. So I just hope that they don't. I mean, it's a good sign hearing that it's 18 episodes, knowing that it shouldn't be anything too crunched together or anything. They have time to tell the stories and dive deep into all the characters and everything. But I just hope that they don't skip anything in his. I know they want to make him a new Daredevil and everything, but I hope that they're not skipping over a bunch of stuff and then we're just like, boom, now we're in Daredevil's in New York and now we're at this part. Like, I hope we at least get that continuity from the Netflix series of what's happened and stuff. I know we saw him in She-Hulk and stuff, but right. I just hope at least we don't hop in episode 1 and it's like, here's new Daredevil, new story and all this. I just want there to be, like we always talk about, at least that little piece of connecting and everything, and not just where he showed up in She-Hulk, now he's in the MCU.
Well, and I know.
And now you have White Tiger, and also we brought Kingpin, who's doing all this shit. Like, I just hope the story they tell.
Well, they got the same guy to play Foggy from the Netflix series.
Are they all coming back?
Some of them.
Some of them, and see, that's the kind of shit that throws me off too, right? Because I'm like, so Foggy's in it. Is I can't think of what his love interest's name was in that one, but is she in it?
Isn't her name Karen?
Karen, yes. Is
Electra?
Is Electra?
Are they doing? Yeah, they're doing
the
the Electra with the. Because isn't that where we really left off at? Like, wasn't that?
It was getting there.
That's what I'm just saying. Like, wasn't that where we left off? Just Electra, the hand, all that shit. Like.
Yeah, I mean.
Until they dove into the bullseye shit. Like, they really just, but they skipped that shit to get into the bullseye shit because it was rushed. Like.
In the series?
Yeah.
Well, season 3.
If that's what is season 4 or 5, the last one.
Season 3 was the last one.
So in season 2, then.
No, season 2 was Punisher and Kingpin. And then season 3 was his fall, and he was in the church with his mom. And
season,
he was still dealing
and then the end of season 3 was the bullseye shit, right?
They were getting into it, but the series ended.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. Anyway, like, we ended on that shit. I just hope they don't try to bring too much shit over and then add all this new shit in, and then they end up with plot holes or something like that. I just hope that they're able to tell the story that they want to and everything. But, I mean, the one thing I am excited for is that, I mean, isn't White Tiger part of the New Avengers? Or wasn't she part of the New Avengers?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
I'm not sure what they want to use her for in this, if I'm being honest.
Well, this is what came from the direct, and this is what came from actually Murphy's Multiverse. My apologies, out there on Twitter. He said Murphy's Multiverse alluded to how everyone should take this news with a grain of salt, but that he also heard the topic of White Tiger come up several times from his own sources. Add that to the character's history as both a street level hero and an ally to Daredevil, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, and that is this is also a reliable source for Murphy's Multiverse is backing giant freaking robots claim to the mystical superhero White Tiger that the mystical superhero White Tiger will be joining Charlie Cox and Daredevil Born Again. So like I said, it does make sense, the relationship that they do have already, her being an ally to Daredevil, and Daredevil being 18 episodes, and having to deal with if Kingpin's going to play the role that everyone's assuming that he's going to play in this series, with being becoming mayor of Kingpin, and that's what issue is that? Is it Devil's Reign, or what issue is that where Kingpin becomes?
I cannot remember for the life of me.
I forget what it's called, but chat corrects me. Tying, if they're going to be adapting that into this, then it makes sense. It does. I mean, it makes sense having Spider-Man around, obviously, to help the street level, and having it tie into the MCU and pushing not going exactly with the comic like they never do, but tying it into what the MCU's overall story is going to be.
I'm glad to see, the Spider-Man, the White Tiger, because I mean, obviously we know this. Daredevil's main supergroup is the Defenders.
Right.
And I didn't want them to immediately jump right back into that. Give that some space, give that some time. We'll get there. But I'm glad instead we're seeing things like a friendly face of Spider-Man that we know, and everyone's excited to see, and then bring in like a White Tiger, establish some shit, because I don't want to watch Luke Cage again. I don't want to watch Iron Fist again.
Oh no, I got you. I doubt there. I don't know, but I don't know, because we're going to talk about, that's one of the topics, so we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But Spoiler Kings did just say, because that was the next thing I was going to talk about, as Giant Freaking Robots pointed out, they are eyeing Jenny Ortega to play White Tiger, and Spoiler King said, IDK about Jenny Ortega as White Tiger. Now, I know Jenny has played, and I'm looking at her movies here now that I know her from. Okay, so I don't remember her in Iron Man 3. I didn't watch Scream 6. I don't remember her in You. And this is not me trying to be like, oh, I just don't remember her. Or I'm not. This is not me trying to be like, oh, who is this girl? Because I know who she is. I know her face.
Jenna Ortega, right?
Jenna. That's what I meant. Yeah. Sorry, Jenna.
You're good.
I see her. I know her
She's
face.
in You?
Is she what? That's what I said. I don't.
In the TV show,
Yeah,
You?
I don't recognize her from You. But I don't.
Really?
That's what it says. So, yeah, I know her face. I'm not. She was in Insidious 2. Don't remember it. What role? I don't know. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about her, obviously. I don't know what her line of work is, but I know her face. Why does she look like... I know her face. So, obviously, I've seen her in things. It has to have been these things that I have seen that she's been in, but I don't remember her in them.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, that's who they've got. But, as always, question is...
But I mean,
that's what I remember her from. She was young Jane and Jane the Virgin.
Didn't watch it.
That's the only thing I probably do remember.
I feel like this kind of goes back to what we said before about letting these... Because she's clearly been in enough things that this isn't her first acting gig, but we always talk about getting people to cut, young actors and actresses to cut their teeth on these roles, right? Mm-hmm. And... I mean, if she does a bad job as White Tiger, okay, I wasn't really expecting much to begin with. But, this is what we always talk about, getting people in here to cut their teeth and see how they do. So, I'm willing to give it a shot with a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah. See what they can do. Honestly, I kind of like the fact that I have no fucking clue who she is, because I won't be biased to... I'll be able to see the character for the character and not be like, oh, that's, oh, that's Brad Pitt, not whoever. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, like I said, as always, question is for you guys. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys think. What are you thinking of White Tiger possibly making an appearance in Daredevil? That's via Murphy's Multiverse out there on Twitter. And Giant Freaking Robots collaborating that with him. So if you guys are thinking that White Tiger's showing up, and I mean, how much does that boost your anticipation for the series? And like I said, it boosts mine for sure, because I was already looking forward to the series, but then you added Spider-Man, then you added, I believe, again, Devil's Reign is that comic that they're adapting it from.
It was the start of Devil's Reign.
Yeah. Then you add White Tiger. We know that Echo is going to be a part of this too. Who else are we putting? I mean, there's so many street level possibilities. So my interest is no, keep her away.
I'm just saying, they will then fuck around and do it.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, let us know down below.
The TVMA, I think, is the biggest one for me.
Yeah. Oh, that as well. Let us know down below. What is the chat saying there?
Let's see here. So we have Raymond 2000 says she's good casting. And so Yuri G did confirm, yes, it's the start of Devil's Reign. And on a side note, read the current Daredevil, folks. It's so good. I didn't mean to make that sound sarcastic. I guess Grace, the actress who played Karen, said she's not coming back. That sucks.
Her story was
she did say
her story was really told, though, in my opinion. I don't really need to see more of Karen.
And then Josiah Allen said, I'll take Spider-Man being in Daredevil with a grain of salt. Are we really expecting SOTM to play nice here?
Well, it was reported, not confirmed by Sony. It was reported, but not confirmed by Marvel, that Tom Holland has signed his new deal with Sony and Marvel. That Sony and Marvel came to an agreement. That agreement included Daredevil, Born Again, Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars. So if we are to believe that report, and that was put out there by very credible sources, again, I always say, my time to shine, hello. That is name a time that bitch has been wrong. Never. So people like that have been out there, collaborating it. So
But I Tom
until
Holland
Marvel
is set for life, bro.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
no,
458.
I was listening to somebody the other day talk about, actors and how once they reach basically he knows his worth going into this. That's why I'm sure it took so long for the agreement and what he was going to do.
He getting a Downy bag.
And then, Spoiler Kings. So it's a really good point. She's a great actress, but she's literally in everything, and she is the new Wednesday Addams. It's a new show she started. Spoiler King said, "My fear is she will back out because of other shows she's in." The only reason I would disagree with that is because this is MCU.
And we got to see how much
I also don't think a Wednesday I don't think anyone knows how to get the Addams Family right anymore.
I still don't think, even if we get White Tiger and Daredevil, I don't think they're going to make her get hella screen time or anything.
But see, I'll give this, Not Again 90, and this is something I fully agree with here. He said, with or without Spider-Man, I just hope we get an R-rated Daredevil show. So that is one of my points I bring up all the time. They need to quit bringing in these hyper-violent characters and not making them a hyper-violent series.
Well, I mean, I understand that too, but what do you do with the mouse? How do you
I get that, but that's
get
like
around
everyone was
that?
like, all Trey wants to see is violence. But it's like, as much as everybody else wants to see their favorite comic book characters portrayed on screen, if it's a violent character, portray it accurately on screen, or people have every single right to complain as much as everybody else does. And that's my only thing. I want to see Daredevil knocking people the fuck around.
Well, I mean, it is TVMA. It's not R, but it's TV's R.
Yeah.
So it is TVMA. So I think they are going to be leaning.
But didn't they
that.
say
It's not going to be.
Didn't they say that?
I'll tell you now. It's not going to be Netflix Daredevil.
No, they never said TVMA with Moon Knight. They kept saying hyper violent. That was the word that kept being used with Moon Knight.
Then we got to that first episode, and they kept cutting away from all the stab scenes and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see how this goes. You know what I mean? I'm definitely, like you said, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see those first 2 seasons for me on Netflix was perfect Daredevil.
Yeah.
And you've got the whole you've got the whole Marvel universe, man. If you can't make something better than them first 2 seasons, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, but with that conversation there, that takes us into this topic here, and that is, because when I saw this, I was like, oh my, what? I was confused, honestly, at first, but then I started thinking about it some more, like, throughout this day, and I was like, okay, I see, it's, so anybody that has been here, let me start it that way, anybody that's been here since we started this channel knows I've had my Spider-Verse theory, and this new rumor feeds so heavy into my Spider-Verse theory, and this is like, I don't know, I'm sure everybody has seen this, that Sony and Amazon had come to an agreement to do a live-action Spider-Man spin-off series of shows, and it is they're starting it with Silk, and everybody knows Silk is Cindy, has the same story as Peter. I'll get into that in a minute, but so this is the reason I say that this feeds into that is because they're doing this. They've got Lord Miller that are going to be helming this. By the way, Lord Miller, you guys know as the ones behind Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, everything like that. When it comes to Sony projects that Lord Miller are outside of anything Lord Miller have done with Sony, I mean, we saw Venom and it was fun, but it wasn't, like I said with Black Adam, it was fun. Mm-hmm. It was fun. Venom 2, you got it.
It was horrible.
Said you got it. It's there.
It's there. Fine. You got
it. Came out.
Morbius, as you know, I still have not seen it. I refuse to see it.
Bro, that one night when I was Snapchat, I was like, I'm bored, about to just watch Morbius for fun. 10 minutes into that bitch, I was asleep.
Yeah. You lied to me for 2 years, and then 2 weeks before the film said, never mind, psych, no Spider-Man. So fuck them for that. Then they re-released it, and anything. Basically, what we're getting at is anything outside of Lord Miller that Sony has done in regard to the Spider-Verse. It's been not good. And if the Spider-Verse, as we have been hearing in rumors, is going to tie into what they're doing with Secret Wars, and I heavily believe that it is, and this just feeds into my rumor more, my theory more, because we heard last week that Tom Holland an animated version of Tom Holland was going to be showing up into Across the Spider-Verse, either part 1 or 2. We're not sure which part yet. We also have heard that Kevin Feige is heavily involved with helping them orchestrate the Spider-Verse that they're trying to connect here. We've also heard that Sony's trying to get to a Spider-Geddon. We've also heard that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are also going to be showing up in this little Across the Spider-Verse as well, animated form. We've also heard that they're going to be showing up in Kang Dynasty, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Secret Wars. With Kevin Feige helping Sony with everything that I just listed there, that's all going to tie into that Miles Morales breaking. I don't know how exactly they're going. I don't know if they're going to keep it comic like that, and it's going to be Miles' universe that, collides into 616. I don't know if that's the way they're going to do it. But however they do it, I think Miles is going to play a heavy part in Secret Wars. You're already going to have Tom Holland's Spider-Man, who is obviously Sony Spider-Man, but the MCU rents him. And having him in Across the Spider-Verse now establishes our 616 Spider-Man relationship with all that shit that's about to be going on in the Sonyverse, now aligned with a series that you can introduce Silk, you can introduce Spider-Punk, we've also heard
Daniel Kaluuya was cast.
Yeah, but as the voice, but we heard something about a live action. I forgot who it was. They said there was going to be.
Oh, yeah, I heard that shit too. I'll be able to find it real quick.
You can all of them. And then you've got the rumors of everything going on with Madam Web. Now, let me just give that quick rundown real quick. Everything going on with Madam Web. It's Ezekiel Sims. It's supposed to be a Terminator-type film where Ezekiel Sims is going to be going back in time. And it's up to Madam Web to assemble a team of Spider-Man to go back. And the time that everyone is alluding to that Ezekiel Sims is going back to is going to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man time. Because on set, it looks like Sam Raimi's everything from Sam Raimi's universe. It's got the Daily Bugle. It's got it's the same logo from Sam Raimi's. It's got they're in the same times, and I forget if I would have got the pictures, I would have pulled them up, but I forgot to pull those up. But there's pictures from the set that look heavy like Sam Raimi's, and it's supposed to be the plot around Ezekiel Sims going back in time to try to murder Spider-Man before he's born, and obviously Madam Web understanding that Peter Parker is the Spider-Man. We have to stop this from happening. And obviously, if that happens and that breaks into all of this Spider-Verse stuff that they're doing and introducing all these characters, it's not just Spider-Man. I'm sure they're going to be doing it is just the Spider-Man verse there. And then everything you've got going on with Kraven, everything that you've got going on with Venom 3, and whichever Spider-Man's supposed to be showing up in that one, I'm sure tying into all of this. I'm sure Sony looked, I know this is winded, I'm sorry. I'm sure Sony looked at what they did previously, looked at what Lord and Miller did, and I'm sure Lord and Miller are now just going to be basically like Dave and John over at Star Wars, or James and Peter Safran, because you've got Lord and Miller who know these characters. They've already proven to you. We gave you your most successful Spider-Man film that is widely beloved by almost everyone. And on top of that, we've shown and proven that we know these characters. Unlike Lucasfilm, they looked in-house and said, hey, we don't need to go outside to try to find directors or anything to come in and do characters that they don't really know. We got two guys right here that have proven they know them. It's happening. I just wanted to... I'm not going to drop my pen yet. I'm not dropping the mic yet. But when it does happen, I've been saying this for months. I just want to push that out there. Thoughts? Concerns?
I'm not excited for this as much as I thought whenever I
That's
saw
okay.
the S.
You can rain on it.
When I saw the S, because when I first read it, I was like, oh, they're doing, they're announcing more, they're doing a Spider-Man show, right? Which would be good. It can tie into things. But then shows, I realized it was plural. It goes back into my big fear of saturation, right?
But how do you do a Spider-Verse without the plural? There's no Spider-Verse if it's singular. It's just Spider-Man. You can't do a Spider-Verse without introducing Spider-Punk, without introducing Silk,
but you can
Spider-Noir.
introduce all these people in one show. Just like
Who
they
the
introduced...
hell?
Just like in the fucking Into the Spider-Verse. How many Spider-Men did they introduce?
That was a movie.
Yeah, but you can do the same thing with the TV show.
But why would you... Okay, here's the thing, too. Here's the thing with Amazon. With Amazon, okay, you take Silk Story. Silk Story is the same as Spider-Man story, except you take away all the good. You take away all the growing up with a loving family. You take away the uncle having Uncle Ben saying with great power comes great responsibility. You take away having friends. She grew up with no one, but was bitten by the same exact spider that bit Peter Parker. How do you tell that gritty of a story and then say, oh, but here's Spider-Punk? Like that doesn't fit in that. You need to have a story.
Right. Like,
no, I'm sorry. To me, it just doesn't.
You're telling me there are TV shows where there can be gritty characters and characters who are juxtaposed to that character interacting together.
No, I'm not saying that can't happen because we've seen that happen.
Like, okay, you need to watch 12 episodes of Silk Spider, 12 episodes of Spider-Punk.
How do we know it's 12 episodes, though? What if it's 6 short, sweet episodes, get to know the character, boom, here's the next one, boom, here's the next one, boom. Okay, now they're all going to come together, and I'm sure some of them are going to intertwine because they're building the Spider-Verse. I'm
just saying I'm worried that if you're going to make me watch that many series, a whole series to introduce one character to me, that it's easy burnout.
Okay, so then I guess I'm confused. What do you mean just one character? Because that's what the MCU has done with entire...
And most people are burnt with Phase 4 of the MCU?
People are burnt with being let down. This was a conversation we had last night. Mm-hmm. The people are burnt with being let down, not so much burnt with the shows themselves, burnt with the outcome of these shows, having such expectations going in, and then those expectations being meh. I don't.
But this goes back to my opinion. I'm not excited to watch 8 Spider-Man shows or 8 Spider-Man.
Well, you've got to be one of the only people because, again, that name alone puts asses in the seats. And why give it to Amazon instead of Disney? Because I've seen some people asking that. Because look at The Boys, look at Invincible. You can do shit on Amazon, and I think with what they're trying to do with the Spider-Verse, I think you're going to come to eat crow with what you just said because. It's Spider-Man. It's the Spider-Verse. Lord and Miller. Mm-hmm. Sony and Kevin Feige are now getting their shit together. That's fine.
I mean,
it goes back to... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to... Here's my thing. The only concern I really... Because I'm excited. I wouldn't downplay it. I'm not excited. But my only concern is the pacing and the timing of everything if we're trying to complete everything before we get to Secret Wars and have that all on pace and everything. And so I just hope, knowing it's Sony and knowing that they have those always the possible outcomes of where they didn't get Kevin Feige or Marvel's approval for something and they go do something stupid. I just hope that they get everything in order of what they want to do, at least like the structure of what characters they want to have these certain shows and what characters they want to come together in shows. Because, I mean, I get what Trey's saying, but on the other side of things, imagine if it's like we have it's just like 3-4 shows, but we're introducing 8 to 10 different it's just like it's the Spider-Verse, and I think that's the part to be excited for. It's just like it can be saturated, but with doing it right and the right timing and pacing on everything, I don't think if there's a storyline, I don't think there's anything to saturate because it's like it's a multiverse. It's a spider. It's supposed to be crazy, a bunch of shit going on at once, and that's my thing. I just feel like. I mean, I hope I'm able to keep up personally just with all the shit that I'm hearing that's supposed to be coming out because we've got, the Miles Morales parts 1 and 2, then they're doing Amazon shows, then they want to do Madam Web, then we still have all the Marvel shit that they want to, that they want to connect to Secret Wars. And so
here's the thing with that, though.
Or not connect to Secret Wars, but, at least get in that where they can put those certain Spider-Men in Secret Wars.
The Spider-Verse shows that they're doing with Amazon, that's what's connecting to Secret Wars. El fucking Muerto. Marvel and Kevin Feige don't give one flying fuck about that film.
No, but I'm just saying it goes back to, it's like because we all would watch a Taz, another Amazing Spider-Man movie, right? But I'm not going to watch, I didn't watch Morbius, not watching El Muerto, not watching a Rhino spinoff. I will skip all of them and watch the Amazing Spider-Man. Now, if one of these series comes out that is like, oh, dude, this is really fucking good, then obviously I'll watch it. But am I excited that they're going to hit me with 5 different variant Spider-Man series? Again, I'm going back to that, It's a lot.
You're still kind of assuming, though. You put 5 series, 6 series. We don't know how many episodes series. It could be 2, 3 series and then straight into a movie or something.
I mean, very true, but they're talking... But then that would go back to if they're introducing a whole bunch
I know, like
of
you say,
Spider-Man,
shows and everything.
But I'm saying if there's a whole bunch of different Spider-Man, then they might not get independent shows. Then it might be a series of more than one Spider-Man doing something, and that's a whole different conversation.
But I think that's the route
but
we
if
go,
we're
though,
getting
because if
origin stories of every one of them as a whole season, I'm fucking...
But
I don't need that.
I don't think that's necessarily a thing we get to, because I don't think they all have to have origin stories, if I'm being necessarily honest. I think what
if Silk is the catalyst to what is going on in the Spider-Verse? And if Silk is the catalyst, and then you see, maybe, I'm just assuming, I'm just throwing something out. I don't know what this is going to be about. But you have maybe a Madam Web showing up with the events that have already happened in her movie and dealing with the time traveling of Ezekiel Sims. Mm-hmm. Then she shows up in Silk and says, you play a much wider role in a bigger universe or whatever. Mm-hmm. And boom, now you're in a Spider-Man 2099 series.
Well, I mean,
we already know what's going on, and it's not an origin, but we're jumping in, and it's something tying him in with Silk, or something tying him into the wider Spider-Verse.
I think it will be Silk series will kind of be the test on how this will go and where it's going to go for me. But I'm not sitting here. I'm not nearly as anticipating this as I would say our last topic of like Daredevil. I'm just kind of like, let me see where this goes.
I would say I am.
For me, I am too. Just because it's Spider-Man.
Because it's gonna.
It's Spider-Man.
I've been interested ever since I heard that Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield are supposed to be in the animated verse and everything with Miles Morales, and so just hearing that rumor and knowing that they're trying to connect everything, not like.
Well, I'm also not as happy about it being Sony.
I don't want... That's my thing, though. I don't want Sony to try and overdo it and make money in it. I want them to just tell a good, correct story and see what their outcome is. Instead of like, okay, here go all these big names and all your childhood heroes, and we're going to introduce some new Spider-Man, some new Spider-Man, whatever you want, just so we can make money. Like, I want them to actually be in the lab, have a notebook, write the fucking plan, and I want them to act accordingly and stick. Like, if Kevin Feige tells you that he needs something done to set up Secret Wars, listen, do it. Don't make everything a pissing contest to make money or some shit. Like, I just want Sony to be able to handle Spider-Man, because the hype that comes with Spider-Man is just so insane. But it's like, rightfully so, because the Spider-Verse is fucking crazy. So I mean, if you nail that, I mean, you're set. You don't have to worry about your next movie flopping or anything. This is what they have to get right.
And I think that they will, and here's why I think they will. We keep saying, and I say this too, we keep saying Sony. Sony is the company, but Sony has the people that work under their umbrella, as I know you guys know this, just like in the Mouse. Like, there's Bob Chapek, but then there's Kevin Feige, who's over Marvel. So you've got Amy Pascal, who is the producer, doing what she does. Knowing that Amy Pascal is working hand in hand with Kevin Feige, maybe not knowing that she's working hand in hand with Kevin Feige, then knowing Lord and Miller's track record with their Spider-Man material, from what we've already seen with Into the Spider-Verse, what we've seen with the trailers and things for Across the Spider-Verse, just them having it alone, that's how I feel with Star Wars with Dave. I'm good, because I know somebody that understands these projects, understands these characters, understands what this means. I'm sure they've sat down with Feige, if this is indeed feeding into the theory of moving into the Secret Wars and Spider-Geddon and everything. I'm sure they understand what you're doing is, yes, we're building your own Secret Wars, your Spider-Geddon, but it feeds into a much larger universe. You got to put somebody behind this that knows these fucking characters, and it can't be no Venom.
Do you not have any worries that it gets rushed, or that they'd have that deadline of Secret Wars and having to connect everything?
I feel like but I don't, because it's 2026 for Secret Wars.
Right, but I feel like you're kind of holding on to these things of like it's Kevin Feige, even though Black Panther, Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, all their projects have been being lackluster.
But what have we talked about in Phase 4 when it comes to Kevin Feige and why things have been lackluster? Not having as much creative control. But what have we talked about with Phase 5 when it comes to Kevin Feige? One of the things that he said, one of the things that he's wanting done, more creative control, and he's going to make sure that Phase 5 hits the way it's supposed to hit.
Right, I'm just saying,
Kevin
just
Feige has never failed us
names
before.
Around a situation.
But he's the greatest producer of all time. These are things we've talked about on this channel. What do you mean just because there's certain names? Whenever we talk about Secret Wars, what names? We're saying certain names. We want the Russos to do it. Right. Why? Because of their track record. So when I say Kevin Feige, I'm talking on the man's track record. I'm talking about he hasn't let me down. Phase 4 may have been lackluster, but I'm not putting that on Feige.
No, but the only thing Spider-Man and Sony that I really am like, I mean, we had one good animated movie and the next two look great. But I'm not just sitting here sold on it. Because Sony does have a terrible track record, in my opinion.
Sony does. Kevin Feige does not.
I'm sorry.
Tom
Holland doesn't either.
Yeah, I mean...
I get that, but I'm talking about for this series. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I'm sold because...
No, and Lord Miller don't have a bad name something.
Well, my thing is, I'm just saying,
within the Spider-Man universe, Lord Miller have done... I mean, like I said, they delivered Sony's most successful film. No Way Home's not Sony's film. Delivered Sony's most successful film. I don't know anybody that says, oh, I didn't like Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean,
Sunflower just went
17
times
and
platinum.
Why? People, nobody
17
listened to
times
Sway.
Platinum.
Sway Lee?
Hey, chill out.
Nobody was listening to Sway Lee.
Chill out.
Nigga, nobody was listening to Sway Lee
chill
like
out.
that. Now,
chill out. Yeah, you know, right?
Multiple people were...
Chill out on Black
not
Beatles
like that,
and Trim Life 1 and 2.
Okay, so they had their hits, right? Where's Sway Lee now?
Rapping. He's still making music.
I've not heard this man.
Now, Slim Jim, probably not.
Here's the thing.
Slim Jimmy, probably not.
Here's the thing. This is what I'm saying.
Sway Lee?
That's cool.
Deaf.
Listen, I coach basketball, right? I'm around kids younger than...
Sway Lee not for no hooping ass.
That's what I'm saying. So when it comes to the general young population, ain't nobody...
You just sit in the gym, ain't no one pulled up to hoop listening to Sway Lee.
My boys have never...
What nigga you know what a hoop is? Sunflower!
Play that Sway Lee. I rock that Sway Lee.
I promise to God you done had some Rage Trimmer bumping in the gym.
I haven't.
Man.
But
promise to God. I promise you.
But back on topic, because I don't give a damn where Sway Lee is.
No one's probably played Ugly God in the gym, but I'm sure he's... That
was off topic. I'm just saying. Yeah, no.
Either way, Lord and Miller are behind Sony's most successful Spider-Man stuff, and having them here, again, just puts on par with, yes, names matter. Because when we hear Taika Waititi, alarms and red flags go up. So names do matter.
I mean, it's cool, and it's cool that it's making you that excited. I'm just more trepidatious to it. That's all I'm saying.
And that's fine. You can be trepidatious. But I've rarely been wrong when it comes to the theories and things like Multiverse of Madness. You all disagreed with me. And then boom, what happened?
I didn't disagree with you. I just said I knew.
You argued me down with what was going to happen with Wanda. Wanda wasn't the villain to you at first. Oh, buddy, it's on the channel. Take a visit. Take a trip back in time a little bit.
I don't think I said she wasn't. I think I said
take a trip back in time.
I think what I originally said is I didn't want her to
we don't have to argue about it because it's recorded. Just take a trip back in time.
I will.
And you will see where you were doubting me before, and I was right there.
I said I wasn't enjoying the idea.
No, senor.
But
like swing.
As always, because we do have other topics, question is for you guys. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Are you as excited as I am, or are you on the side like Trey is, where he thinks I'm not excited about it, or he's trepidatious about it for the reasons he explained? So let us know down in the comments what you think. Are you excited, or are you more trepidatious about what's going on with the Spider-Verse? Are you on Q's side where you're just like, yeah, Sway Lee? Let us know.
I'll defend
the chat saying.
All right, so yeah, D Sizzle saying Silk is a cool character, and J Rob saying Silk is the most ridiculous character based on her origins alone. Let's see here. Kenny Pierce said, I haven't seen Morbius either, but that pitch meeting was good enough, I'm sure. Franchise said, I think Silk is a test to see how everyone reacts before bringing in bigger characters. They're asking about, Kenny Pierce asked what number was the Ultimate Universe. And then Not Again 90 said, I love the idea of Miles taking over for Tom Holland once Spider-Man is done. The Ultimate Universe, and then the Ultimate Universe is 1610. Let me see here. And Be a Blessing said, I really wish they would give Miles a great non-animated movie.
I think it's coming. I think it's coming.
Let's see here. So D Sizzle said on the spider side of things. And they're laughing about your spider guitar riff too. And then Diesel said, I rather just see Silk in animation. I don't trust anything Sony does live action.
You're on the trepidatious side.
And then
with
the
Trey.
Jinx said there'll be too much Spider's Overload.
On
And
the
then
trepidatious
Raymond
side.
2000 said, I changed my mind. I don't care about seeing all these other Spider people. Spider Silk maybe, Silk Spider maybe, Spider Gwen, Spider Noir. I think those could be entertaining. Everything else you can keep them. And then Franchise again said Silk's probably the test. Raymond 2000 said, what the hell is a Spider Punk? Please tell me that's not real. Let's see here. And then Diesel is most interested in seeing Miguel O'Hara.
Likewise.
I feel it, yep. And then official Liam G said it's better than the villain movie plan Sony had. I agree.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's what it was, bro.
And he's saying that multiple projects around different Spider-Man sounds nice. Let's see here. Oh shit, it just jumped on me 1 second here. Okay, so Diesel said Into the Spider-Verse is technically the first multiversal introduction to casual audiences. Let's see here. Be a Blessing says sometimes having big names means nothing. Look at Eternals, just horrible. Astra said Fail 4 is a mess. Kevin Feige has failed on Phase 4 areas.
Yeah, I'll say that on that. I'll say that to that. I'll say something to that, but I'll say something to Be a Blessing first. Chloe Zhao's name is not a big name. Chloe Zhao's name is only big in her little indie movies. Yeah. This was the first feature-length film. Yeah, but I don't think so.
None of the actors in Eternals were big.
That was Angelina Jolie,
Harry Styles,
and Harry Styles wasn't even
Jon Snow's Kit Haring or Kit.
Kit
Harington.
Yeah. I mean, he just walked out of the biggest TV or just walked out of the biggest TV show
that's
ever.
true. But then the man only was on screen for like 5 minutes, and it was like begging Cersei to get in bed with him the entire film. So I mean, but to answer, Chloe Zhao's name's not big like that. And to answer Ashford there, no, Kevin Feige did not fail on Phase 4. Kevin Feige cannot do anything when he's not.
Kevin Feige didn't.
I think people think that Kevin Feige is like he answers to someone. He has someone he has to answer to.
He produces.
So when they put their hand down and say no, you don't have as much creative control, because it used to be Kevin Feige was involved in everything. We've heard, why was Mahershala Ali upset? Kevin Feige wasn't involved. He wasn't on set. That was one of the reasons, among the many other reasons, that Mahershala Ali was upset. But to say that Kevin Feige failed? No. I remember everybody saying that. I remember I posted on Twitter. Y'all's frustration is pointed in the wrong direction. You want to be mad at somebody? Be mad at Bob Chapek. You want to be mad at somebody? Be mad at the people above Kevin Feige.
Disney.
That wasn't just Kevin Feige that they took power away from their Disney creatives. Creatives weren't able to have this much creative control as they once did. Come on, guys. It's not Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige delivered an amazing idea, and with the the Infinity Saga, we're seeing
Bro, Multiverse
bits
of
and
Madness
pieces.
was supposed to be great.
It was supposed to be
That shit
great.
got rewritten and new director, and that it flopped. There's those movies where I don't know, he too much faith in Taika, so he let Taika do the whole Thor movie, in my opinion. So he didn't really have hands on that. Whatever else. I mean, I just don't see why people would blame Feige like they don't know that he's not the main boss over there or some shit. He's the main producer at Marvel, but Marvel is under Disney, which is a whole separate company that Kevin Feige most likely has nothing to do with in contractual terms outside of Marvel. So,
bingo. Move on. Next comments.
Let's see here.
Should be Pookie Wood there.
Sorry, I'm going back down. Oh.
He could have leveled.
He could have leveled with Coogler to keep T'Challa.
He could have, and we've talked about that, bro. I really think that, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, I think that they looked at it like that is, because if we touch it,
that's the nigga shit.
Yeah, they gonna
That's the black people stuff.
And I don't know that
if
for
I
sure.
fuck it up,
but
I'm not gonna fuck up with what Black Panther did for that community. I'm gonna let them do it.
I definitely agree with what Pookie said. I definitely do, because we've even said that. I wish Feige would have stepped in as president and said, "Okay, I get emotions are high," or maybe he really thought that same shit. I don't know.
Hey, here's a good one from Chillmonger. And shout out to Chillmonger. He said, if you could choose two of these three, Russo's directing, Marcus freely writing, or Feige producing.
Russo's
directing.
Russo's and Feige.
and Feige producing. But I mean, if I could only choose one, it'd be Russo's.
If I choose one, I'm going Feige producing, in my opinion.
If I could only choose one of those.
Well, he said two, but I'm saying one.
Oh, you could choose two?
You got Russo's and Feige.
I'm going to go Feige and Marcus and McFeely.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like I know Marcus McFeely writes well and everything, but I feel like if you have the Russos and Feige in house, I feel like the storyline's gonna get written well anyways. And so then you have that. I feel like them three have enough power to write a story and produce it all and everything. So not to, but there's just no need for Marcus McFeely if you have the Russos and Feige in the room.
Yeah.
Like Marcus and McFeely, correct me if I'm wrong. Marcus McFeely, he wrote Civil War. I believe.
Pretty sure he wrote Civil War and
Infinity War
and Age of Ultron.
I'm going to jump on a little bit here. Franchise said, I believe he will use Phase 4 as his way to bring back his authority. And then, let's see here. The Jinx 1 said Victoria Alonso failed. And then, Raven 2000 said Kevin Feige, despite what She-Hulk said, is not an AI. He's being spread too thin. He's not Donald Trump. I mean, Bob Chapek.
I don't want to interrupt you, but yeah, he wrote Narnia, all three Captain Americas, and Thor: Dark World, Avengers: Infinity War, and Endgame.
Not Civil War.
All three Caps.
I forget that is his Cap. I always forget that's
First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Okay.
So not Age of Ultron.
And then Osher, he's coming at you today. He said, is that why Jessica Gao was trying Kevin Feige because he wasn't involved too areas?
Yes. Actually,
or trying to trash talk.
Actually, yes. That is what was going on with Jessica Gao. Jessica Gao, excuse me, we talked about this too.
Yep.
Jessica Gao wanted Kevin Feige to actually show up in She-Hulk. She didn't want it. The robot thing, that was so last minute.
You know, she wanted to do so. Like, she wanted Spider-Man to be in
Yeah,
She-Hulk.
she wanted. There were a lot of people that Kevin Feige was just like, no. They kept just like we've heard with Chloe Zhao, how her and Kevin Feige were bumping heads on set because Kevin Feige was like, no, don't do this, and Chloe Zhao was like, yes, let's do this. To where it went to the higher ups, and the higher ups told Kevin, step back and let her do it. And what happened? It's the only Marvel film to have a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes.
What? She-Hulk?
Because why? A movie. The only movie.
What movie are we talking about?
Eternals.
Okay.
Why? Because Kevin Feige was told to step back.
Good.
Yes,
So then you look at what Jessica Gao was doing with arguing with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige saying, Kevin Feige telling her, no, I'm not going to show up. And she was like, Kevin, I forget the exact quote, but Kevin it's not that big of a deal. No, she said, you can do this, you can do that, but yes, that's what it was. So when he decided he didn't want to show up in the show, he wasn't going to show up in the show, she said, okay, can we do an AI of you? He was against the AI. She said, why are you against the AI? She said, can we do an AI and put the hat on him, your hat on the AI? And he said, no, don't do that. And she said, so you can do all this multiversal stuff, but you draw the line at putting a hat on an AI. They were having issues to where the higher-ups told Kevin to step back. And what happened with that finale?
Shit sucked.
Hey, I'll agree with D Sizzle here. Marcus and McFeely suck at writing Hulk, unfortunately. Which, I mean, I think it has to do with rights as well. But like, yeah, everyone who's touched the Hulk in the MCU has not done well. The Hulk just hasn't done well. The Hulk just has not been done right by the MCU as a whole.
At all.
I wouldn't blame that on any one person. They've all piggybacked on how bad they can make the Hulk look. They take it turns, and they're like, "I'm gonna write him. I'm gonna make him really bad. I bet you can't do it worse." And then you write the next movie, and it's like, "Fuck, you did make it worse."
What you think Kevin Feige was thinking when the first time he saw that She-Hulk finale?
I don't know. I'm probably sure he was thinking,
no way they're gonna let this shit release it.
I just know,
like, no way we're releasing this shit.
With what he's got planned for the future and his comments on Phase 5 and things moving forward. I think Phase 4 was one of those test things where he was just like, because if you notice, his attitude even on the red carpets have been different.
What have you been? I'm sure you've talked to people.
Yeah, like he's probably, because he's like, this is what happens.
I mean, he's probably ready to toot his horn.
Well, shit, like
ready for Ant-Man to come
Madness, and he's straight up on the red carpet like, they showed you way too much.
Yeah, exactly. He said that on the red carpet for Multiverse of Madness. He said, I'm not happy. He straight up said, I'm not happy. They showed way too much. Why? Because Kevin Feige used to even before they would send out a trailer. Who had the final touches on it? Kevin Feige used to have the final touches on trailers. He doesn't have a say in what the fuck they do anymore like that.
Shit last second and
Feigs, man.
I'm telling you, when you don't let people who are great at their job be great at their job. Look at Phase 4.
Try to limit greatness. Can't put greatness in a box. Come on, Chapek. Fuck you doing?
Telling you, bro. Telling you. What's next?
Have to head out. We're pretty much at the bottom.
Okay.
You be going through these comments for an hour.
The next topic here that we are going to get on is going to be everything rumored and reported for Phase 6 and 7, for the Phase 6 and 7 slate. So we're going to get into all of those. We're going to talk to you guys about that. Now, some of these, like I said, are rumored. Some of them are confirmed. None of them are, or some of them have been reported on, some of them have been reported by some official outlets, Inside Scoopers and things like that, like Daniel Rickman, My Time to Shine, Hello, etc. But none of them have been officially, not any of them, but most of them have not been officially reported by Marvel Studios themselves. These are just things that are out there. So I will go through these. Let's see. Let's see. Well, actually, I'll say this too. We also heard that, take this too with what I'm saying. We also heard that Marvel has been putting out fake scoops to throw off the insiders because of, obviously, look at No Way Home, look at Multiverse of Madness, everything that leaked. They just weren't, they're trying to get rid of all the leaks and things like that. So, again, grain of salt.
All the leaks they don't want to put out themselves.
Right. So Phase 6 looks like it's going to start off, as we know, with Wonder Man, which is basically confirmed, and that's going to be, it's going to be coming in fall of 2024. Then we've got Marvel Zombies, that's coming October 2024. Marvel Zombies, it's not one that I'm really excited for. It's animated. It's
I didn't like the What If Zombies episode. I hated that. So.
I didn't hate that episode, but it wasn't bad for me. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I'm not interested in a Marvel zombie. I'm not interested. That's just me. And then we've got the rumored Ghost Rider special. It's a special that's supposed to be coming out, and it's, you know, because it's Ghost Rider. And one thing that we've talked about before, one thing we've talked about how Marvel is going to be possibly moving into doing specials to introduce new characters instead of these series that have failed. So we've also got in fall of 2024, we've got Spider-Man Freshman Year, the animated series. But we have heard that seems to be behind the scenes stuff going on with that. Seems to be like there's some stuff going on to where it might get delayed. So that may be getting delayed. But that's another one that I don't know that I care.
Yeah.
I don't know that I care. With the pictures that came out, the leaked pictures that came out for D23, I was like, especially when we found out that it is Tom Holland's, but it's not our 616 Tom Holland. It's a different universes, so I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. Also, in the fall of 2024, November 2024, we'll have Deadpool. And as we know, that one is confirmed.
And I'm very hyped for that one.
I am very hyped for that, too. You know, we've got the whole Fantastic Four now. The Fox Fantastic Four is supposed to be showing up within that film, too. So everything keeps all the rumors and things that keep coming out for this, the excitement, my anticipation for that film. I mean, I was already anticipated for it because Rated R, MCU, Ryan Reynolds, Endless Possibilities. But then you added Hugh Jackman. Now you're adding all these other elements, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for it.
I was paying close attention. The Rated R factor, again, I want to see what Disney means when they say Rated R. You know what I'm saying? And that I'm not going to sit here and just shit on it, right? It's just, again, the first thing they say is hyper-violent wasn't, right? And now I'm, like, waiting, and I'm like, what is the first thing you're going to show me you can do an adult series, right? When are you really going to show me you have the balls to do it, basically, to break the mold? So the Hugh Jackman was the first thing about Daredevil that I was like, whoo, yes! And then I was kind of watching Ryan Reynolds to be like, are they really letting you do whatever you want? It was whatever you want, actually whatever you want, you know?
Well, he brought the same writers over from Daredevil 1 and 2. Right. And when they were interviewed I don't want to say maybe a month or so ago, they were asked that same question, you know, what all is Disney letting you do? And they said there's nothing we've shown them yet that they've said no to. So, It might be on par with whatever, because, I mean, when it was announced, Kevin Feige said, it's Ryan Reynolds' movie. It's rated R, it's his movie, so we'll see. We've got, also in the fall of 2024, the Vision Quest series that we've discussed before. And in winter of 2024, a Midnight Angels series. Now, we saw the Midnight Angels in Wakanda Forever. And as we all know, Ryan Coogler is going to be doing spin-off Wakanda Forever, Black Panther stuff within the MCU that aren't films, like series, specials, things like that. As I've said, we all know how I feel. I don't care. As I was, one thing I said last night, once I got off of here, if it's not, I was never in the no T'Challa, no dollar crowd before, because I needed to see the film for myself before I could get on my platform and accurately tell you how that film made me feel. But when BP3 is announced, if announced, it is no T'Challa, no dollar for me. I don't care to see a film without the franchise's main character. I don't care to see that. So I don't care about your Midnight Angel series. That doesn't mean I'm not, I'm not interested. So,
especially with how weak everyone looked and was portrayed in that movie, I don't.
Yeah, not interested. We've got in December of 2024, which is going to be Spider-Man 4, and I'm not really sure that that's all that true, because the rumor back a few months ago with Cosmic Circus, they had said that it was going to be coming out July 11, 2024, and that kind of makes more sense with where that film would need to be within the timeline. So,
Raymond, we're talking about the Midnight Angels series, which is a Dora Milaje series.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got in January 2025 the Nova series. We've heard about that one. Mm-hmm. Before too. Following Nova in February 2025 is the Fantastic Four. F4. Yeah, we know that's confirmed. And then in spring of 2025 is the rumored Midnight Sun series. Now that's one that I'm saying again, grain of salt. It might be true, not sure, but the Midnight Sun series.
Interesting.
Yeah, it could be interesting if it is something that is.
I want to see more about that. Their lineup, how they're going to pull it off.
Yeah.
Where it fits within. So I mean that can be very good or very something I don't give a shit about. Like, and I hate to say it, but a lot of these series that's how it is for me right now with Disney. Is it's either oh yeah or like I don't give a fuck. I don't know. They're making me mad here lately. I'm a little jaded about it. I probably am, but it's just kind of like Wakanda Forever put a. Well, these last set of movies had a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm like, you do have so many cool IPs to work with.
Right.
Like, just do them right.
Yeah. Very true.
Because of Midnight Suns? Fuck yeah.
That would be dope. But then we've got in spring of 2025 is Moon Knight Season 2. Now, we all know that when that director, I forget his name, director of Moon Knight and Oscar Isaac were in Egypt, the fan went up to him on TikTok, the TikTok video, and said, why are you in Egypt? Or no, she says, is there going to be a Moon Knight Season 2? And then Oscar Isaac said, why else would we be in Cairo? So, and then there were some other things that fed into that same thing there. Again, that's not officially announced by Marvel, but that is out there, that Moon Knight Season 2. Are you interested in a Moon Knight Season 2?
I'm only interested in just for everyone knowing who's watching this who wasn't on the channel before, I love Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight's a dope I love the comic book Moon Knight. Dude is fucking awesome. Mark Spector's a bad son of a bitch. But the show let me down, and I think the only way I'd be interested in a Season 2 if it was injecting him into the concurrent MCU and hit up the plot driving forward with...
Because it's Jake now.
Yeah, and I don't...
They ended it with Jake.
Yeah, and I don't care for that, for one, because it's my boy Mark Spector. Like, that's who he is. But two, I don't know. Again, I would watch it if they're pushing him into the MCU, not having him isolated in his own little Khonshu Egypt world, right? Bring him in. That's the only way I'd care. God, I don't know. I sound so negative today. I'm not trying to. They just burnt me, man. That's my dude.
The Moon Knight series was... it was It was.
It could have been more.
It could have been more. It was just what it was. I didn't hate it. There were moments that I did like. There were moments I disliked. It's not one that I'm like, man, let me turn on that Moon Knight again. It just is what it is.
I will say that that origin episode was one of the better things. The better way Marvel's handled trauma in a series. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, they definitely get their flowers for
that.
It
wasn't a bad show
series.
at all. It just wasn't Moon Knight. If you're a fan of Moon Knight, it was not Moon Knight.
Yeah, it was just what it was. I really loved Khonshu, though. Everything with Khonshu I did like a lot. But then we've got... Let me see here.
Raymond, I would disagree. Moon Knight is nothing like Batman.
Oh, Ashra asked, will I watch a Black Panther Disney... No. Well, a series... Because I already pay for...
He asked, did you watch it? I think.
Did I? No, because there's not one. I'm already paying for Disney Plus.
I'm crazy.
I'm already paying for Disney Plus. I won't pay to go see a...
No T'Challa, but you already got my dollar?
BP3 film. I won't pay to go see that. But Disney Plus, I am already paying for. So, if that series is there, I'd probably do it like I'm doing the Andor series. If I decide to watch the Andor series, because I'm also jaded with Star Wars the same way I am now jaded when it comes to the Black Panther franchise within the MCU. If I decide to watch Andor, it'll be whenever I watch it.
Right.
Because so yeah.
I think it's just like, and we're not going to derail the conversation, but you and Q did talk about this yesterday, so I don't need to drag it out, but I just feel like a lot of these IPs know that, and it spans more than just Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. It goes into video games and everything else. They know people will buy it, so they don't have to put as much care into it to try to get you to buy it, if that makes any sense. I was bitching at a buddy of mine today. A new Pokemon game came out. I'm sorry, it's one of the biggest pop culture phenomenons in history. It's huge. It's still as popular as it was when we were kids.
Right.
The new game is glitchier than a PlayStation 1 game. It's horribly rushed, terribly done, and my buddy was like, it's fine, I can deal with it, and I'm like, see, that is the problem. You're willing to accept mediocrity because it's something you know, instead of forcing them to do better. But me not buying it doesn't stop them from making millions of dollars. So, I feel this way about a lot of IPs right now. They need to do better.
Right, I agree. We've got... Let me see. Okay, and then in 2025, we have The Avengers Kang Dynasty, also confirmed. Summer of 2025, X-Men 97 Animated Series Season 2. Yes, Season 2 is already confirmed, so they must really like what they've got going on with X-Men 97 over there. In July 2025, we will get Shang-Chi 2. And we also know that is confirmed. We know that one's confirmed as well. Then there's the rumored, this is one I'm excited for, if true, the rumored Young Avengers series coming summer 2025. We all know, it's no secret, we all know how much I like Young Avengers. Now, I will say this. I recently went back and read Children's Crusade. Maybe I really loved that story. The story I still liked, but I was just like, oh, well, okay. That was cool. But it was, I don't know. It was okay. It was fun. But I hope whatever take they do with the Young Avengers, however they bring them in, I hope that it is done.
It definitely wasn't a very heavy story.
No. It just played heavy on the, the events with Wanda and then Kang and then all that stuff. And yeah. And then, playing off House of M and coming off those heels. That's really that's it for me. It's just the connection between the two and how they...
Right, but I'm saying if you come off something as traumatic as the No More Mutants House of M, and then all right, cool, here's all their kids, right? That series is not going to be as heavy or as...
Yeah, no.
It's just not going to be. It's meant to be more light.
Yeah. Then we've got in fall of 2025, the animated Spider-Man sophomore year, season 2 of, freshman year. Then listed in October 25 is a Mephisto special. Now, that is intriguing if true. And I have my ideas or theories that it is true, because we know that Sacha Baron Cohen is rumored to show up as Mephisto in Ironheart. We also know he's supposed to show up in the Agatha series, and we also know he's supposed to show up in 2 other series. I think it's like four other projects.
He's showing that Ironheart is.
I don't know what. Well, actually, with the connections here is that it's supposed to be because, and I think Agatha is even rumored to be showing up in Ironheart, if I remember correctly.
Well, see, him being there because of Agatha would make more sense.
Yeah, is that because Agatha, if I remember correctly, is supposed to be the mentor to the Red Hood.
I mean, saying even him showing up in the Ghost Rider special would make more sense. Him showing up in Fantastic Four makes more sense than him showing up in Ironheart.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why he's showing up in Ironheart, but I mean, I know it has a connection to do with Red Hood, but what that means, I'm not sure. But a special for Mephisto is interesting, and again, I like the specials idea because you can get down to it. You just introduce this character so, the normies understand, and then us hardcore fans are happy with, I was pretty much happy with Werewolf by Night. I was happy with Werewolf by Night.
I mean, I went in with, you go in with zero expectations because Werewolf by Night's not trying to prove anything to you. You know what I mean?
And Mephisto's not, I would say the same thing with Mephisto. Right. They don't need to prove anything because it's like, so I think that'd be pretty cool, if true. And then we've got here the, let's see. Sorry, let me see. All right. Then we've got in 2025, we'll have the Armor Wars Now film. And then in winter of 2025, we will have the Nomad series. That's interesting. And then in December of 2025, an Abomination special. Now, that one I can tell you, I really don't care about the Abomination special, especially after what I saw of him in She-Hulk. No, I don't care at all.
I don't know why they're... With how much they've shit on Hulk, I don't know why they keep trying to make Abomination so relevant. He was in Shang-Chi, then here he is again in She-Hulk, which I understand why he was in She-Hulk, but it's just like, why are you trying to make this guy so fucking relevant?
I hated the voice. I hated what they did with his voice. I hated how his voice was still Blonsky. It was not Abomination's voice. Because it's like, you look at Abomination from the 2008 Hulk film, then you look at him in this, where he's like, Jennifer, oh, calm. No. I'm like, no, bro, what the no.
Right.
No. Spray bottle, no.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I wasn't a fan. Then we've got, in 2026... Now, this one I'm excited for. If true, again, I believe it might be a Kang the Conqueror special titled, just called The Conqueror. And it's supposed to be taking place after Kang Dynasty, because Kang Dynasty is going to, what everybody is assuming, this is the rumors out there, Kang Dynasty is going to be that basically children's crusade tied into all of that. Then The Conqueror.
Would this be like a Ramatut kind of thing? Origins of Kang?
It would be an origin of Kang like Nathaniel Richards, an origin of Nathaniel Richards, and playing off of the events of Kang Dynasty, so that people know moving into Secret Wars who Kang really is.
I got you.
And Secret Wars not Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty. Take that very lightly, that Children's Crusade mixture. I think they're gonna mix the Young Avengers in with that. But Shang-Chi is also in it. I mean, you've got Dustin Daniel Cretton, who is the Shang-Chi director that is going to be directing Kang Dynasty. Obviously, his vision has to be on par with what Marvel wants to do moving forward and their plans into their cinematic universe. But I don't know how heavy that crusade plays in, if at all. But I'm interested in a Nathaniel Richards get to know who Kang really is special. Not like a documentary, but
That's what I was saying. I'm not interested in them. They don't need to explain Kang to me, but I'd be interested if they jazz it up with a cool, I think Jonathan Majors is doing a great job, just even the look. So, like, I'd be interested to watch it.
Yeah, and see, when I say, like, for us, we don't need Kang explained, but
I think it makes so much
for
sense
them to put asses in the seats, they need to.
Explained?
No.
I mean, he did it was either in game or.
But I feel like Thanos wasn't as complex to explain to a regular fan as Nathaniel Richards is. This is a time traveling.
That's true, but I'm just saying in the sense of like the Mad Titan Kang. You know what I'm saying? His relationship with the cosmos, his relationship with death, his relationship with Galactus. I mean, just everything that Thanos is involved in. Like my brother, I mentioned that Thanos coming back at some point, and my brother was like, they wouldn't do that. Thanos is done with. Like, I don't get it. And I'm like, buddy, let me tell you how important Kang is in the overall Marvel comics. He's, I mean, fuck, even when he goes, I mean, to the, like, every villain, if I don't know, most really good villains test their mettle on Kang. I mean, not on Kang, on Thanos. But I don't know. I'd be interested. And I think it would be that good deposition because Thanos didn't get it.
Right.
And Kang is confusing.
Right.
And you can even tell from how they've done it. He showed up in Loki, but that's not him. Mm-hmm. And then he's showing up in Quantumania, but that's different than the Nathaniel Richards that's going to be in
Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, we're going to see 5 to fucking 30 versions of this man, and only one of them is Kang the Conqueror proper.
And if the rumors are correct, I believe the Kang in Quantumania is Victor Timely, one of another alternate version of him. It's not Nathaniel. I don't think we get Nathaniel till Dynasty, you know. So then coming off for regular fans after Dynasty, everybody's like, okay, wait a minute. So that one wasn't Kang and this one wasn't Kang. So then you get your special and it's like, no, this one is the Conqueror.
Right. I think it'd be dope if they did it like that, where they built up a Kang that you think, oh, that's the one, and he's terrifying. You know, Quantumania beats the shit out of him. Have I killed you before?
Right.
You know, just for that Kang to get fucking demolished by the real Kang the Conqueror, that'd be dope as shit. It would just be confusing for people who don't know what's going on.
Right.
And I'm Iron Lad.
In summer of 2026 is the rumored Illuminati series. I believe if it is true, if it's something that's happening, it does make sense because again, it moves into Secret Wars. The Illuminati playing the role that they play in Secret Wars. So,
but I feel like an Illuminati film would essentially be kind of
series,
or series would essentially be kind of what Bad Batch is. Every episode, the Illuminati's finding a new thing that's gone wrong, and they gotta go fix it.
Yeah. I mean, unless it ties in, I don't know. I don't even know what that would look like in Illuminati series. I'm not sure. But I'm interested if true. You know, I'm not sure what it would look like, but interested. And then in February of 2026 will be Eternals 2. We don't know if Chloe Zhao is returning for that. Eternals 2 is confirmed by Marvel Studios, though. So we know that one's coming. Spring of 2026.
You know, the only reason I want there to be Eternals 2? Tell me about the man in the ocean. Tell me about the celestial body sticking out of the ocean.
Yeah. In spring of 2026, Miss Marvel Season 2 and a World War Hulk series. Now, I would take that World War Hulk series with a grain of salt. I don't believe they're doing World War Hulk as a series. If they do it, and the rumor is they're doing it, it's going to be a film, not a series.
Miss Marvel Season 2.
I don't either. But everybody knew they were going to do a Season 2 for Miss Marvel. And then to end Phase 6 is obviously May 2026 of Secret Wars. Then moving into Phase 7, and this is a little bit on the heavy rumors, you know, like I said, because this is Phase 7.
A big bag of salt on this one. Be careful here. We're going into territory.
Yep. This one, the first series rumored is the Power Pack, and it would obviously follow Alex, Julie, Jack, and Katie Power. So, not everybody knows who the Power Pack is, but the Power Pack is, you know.
I have no idea who the Power Pack is.
Oh, well, you know, I don't know that anybody's going to be interested in a series for the Power Pack.
Okay.
But if Marvel's doing it, then this is something that was kind of rumored a few years ago, honestly, also. But I don't know. Well, you know, hey, we'll see. Next is the rumored Secret Warrior series. Everybody knows, yeah. Again, another one that I'm not sure that you can get MCU fans to watch. So Phase 7 right now is sounding a little Phase 4-y. Then you've got in July 2026 something we kind of talked about a few nights ago, which was the Namor project. How Namor is going to be getting, you know, his projects going.
I will watch that.
Yeah, that would be good. I think so. Like I said, Tanakh is what he's done as Namor. was very commendable. I thought he did a good job.
And I just want to point this out real quick. Raymond 2000 said I'd rather have a Squirrel Girl than Power Pack. I would actually enjoy a Squirrel Girl project in general. So
Well, that is coming up here, actually.
Okay.
That is coming up here. Well, at least a team that she's on. Anyway, move here to the next here. They said that there's also the rumored, don't know if this is happening, but the rumored She-Hulk season 2. If they do a season 2, I won't.
I won't watch it. I will Spark Notes that bitch and see if there's anything important I need out of it, and I'll go on.
Yeah, I won't watch it. Then they've got next on here. Is Cornelius in here?
Cornelius, I saw him comment.
If Cornelius is in here, he's gonna like this one. Well, when I get to it, I'm not there yet. Then in November 2026 is the X-Men film. Because Phase 7 is supposed to be when they bring in our X-Men, the official 616 X-Men, and that is going to be their film in 2026, of November 2026. Now, it has a date. I'm not sure if that date is true or anything like that, but we'll see. Then next is the Agents of Atlas series, which was also rumored a while back. So there you go with your Squirrel Girl. So possibly there, Possibly there. Then after that, you've got your Photon, Monica Rambeau series. That one I am interested in because, we've already gotten to see Monica in WandaVision. We're going to get to see her in the Marvels. That was something we kind of talked about the other night. I hope that they did. We were saying I hope they do some type of Monica project where Photon is getting the attention, because next to T'Challa, she's one of my other favorite superheroes. So I would love to see a Photon series, and I think that if done properly, it could be great. Let's see. Next is Black Panther 3. I've already said how I feel. Yeah. Yeah, I won't be. That's exactly it. I will not be watching. And then next for that, spring of 2027, is the Black Knight series. It's apparently already in development. We were just talking about that with Kit Harington and everything like that. And we know that the role he plays with Blade that's showing up at the end and everything like that. So we know that his story is going to be progressing. After that, we got Doctor Strange 3. Doctor Strange 3 is the one that's supposed to be coming out. And we know that is going to be happening because of the way Doctor Strange 2 ended with Clea saying, you caused an incursion, you're going to help me fix it. So leading into maybe something there. We've got a Squadron Supreme series that's possibly currently in development. Some people are saying that that's supposed to be coming in Phase 5. I'm not sure. Or Phase 6, rather. Sorry. I'm not sure if that's going to be happening or not. But, hey, Squadron Supreme, that is a rumored possibility out there. We also know that they are also rumored to be showing up in a project here also soon. The first rumor with the Squadron Supreme came out for Loki Season 2. So we're waiting to see if that is actually true. And then we've got the 10 Rings series that was also teased at the end of the first Shang-Chi film. Then in October 2027 is a Doctor Doom special. Now, if that's true, what they're doing with Doctor Doom is I don't know if I believe that he's really going to play a wider role anymore moving towards Secret Wars. I think it is just going to be Kang, and that, we'll get our hints and things pointing at Doctor Doom, not for Secret Wars, but maybe just Doctor Doom's presence already being in the MCU. We might even see him, maybe, I don't know. But I think he's going to be there bad for Phase 7.
Yeah, I think not dropping him in Fantastic Four would be a miss, in my opinion. I'm not saying have him fully revealed, casted, shown, but there's been too many hints at Doom already, right? And I'm sorry, but it's kind of like play on your good villains. Doom is a great villain. He's one of the best villains in Marvel. I want to see him already. I don't want to wait that long. I saw a comment on here. It's true. It's Phase 7. Where are the mutants, man?
Yeah, no, that's the X-Men stuff. That's X-Men's film. They get their film in November. Yeah. And then it ends with the X-Men. The last two projects here are X-Men 2 and Fantastic Four 2. And the last things listed for 2027, Phase 7. So the X-Men are supposed to be Phase 7, like the X-Men saga. Or actually, the X-Men saga. The Mutant saga, rather. Yeah, which is actually taking us into the next little thing here. But that's what's supposed to be going on. So those were all the rumored and somewhat confirmed things by Marvel Studios when it comes to the next Phase 6 and Phase 7. What is the comments? Well, let us know down below what you guys think of that. If you're excited for any of those things that are coming out, if you believe any of those things that are coming out, if you have worries that it's maybe too much coming out, let us know down below what you guys are thinking. What is the chat saying?
Let's see here. So we're going back up to when we were discussing Moon Knight and the hyper-violent stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Raven 2000 said they'll show blood. That's Disney's version of rated R. And Franchise said, I think they'll take R to the limit. Who, Disney? Ho-ho! They ain't taking R anywhere.
Maybe. Who
to
knows?
them, R means rest. They don't know what. No. And then Diesel said, shame I'll never get to see Black Widow and Daredevil interact. Those two got mad comic history. I mean, take this with a grain of salt, but that's why I'm tired of this whole immortalizing and fucking doing that with all these heroes. Because, like, Marvel heroes die and come back all the time.
This is true.
We could get... you think we couldn't get a Black Widow again? Absolutely we could. It's just... we could have Clint over there with his family being like, damn, Natasha died for me to get all this. Maybe I should go get her back. And he goes and gets her back. Boom. But, you know, they only immortalize people, so there you go, right? Let's see here. Raven 2000 said a Midnight Angels movie. What happens to the door? What happens to the Dora Milaje show or the Okoye show? I don't care about Wakanda and Iron Man. Bring me the Dora show in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The Doras y'all showed in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier colonizers. Yeah, man, that's the thing. You know, the Doors were terrifying until Wakanda Forever. That's just my opinion, but they're getting fucked up.
Yeah, not interested. And I think it's a series, but and what happened to the Dora show? I don't know.
And the Jinx one said Wakanda without Black Panther is like Gotham without Batman. Don't care. Ram 2000 said, oh, okay, I was about to say, now I do care enough to watch? Probably not. Let's see here. I'm not going to get into conversations where they're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
Ram 2000 said Moon Knight. The series was trash. I don't think they should have done the DID version. It turned a lot of people off. But I love how they connected it to Kang without a lot of people know, or at least alluded to the Scarab being connected to Kang. That would be a good way to bring him into MCU proper, is him having the knowledge of Kang being who Kang is. Almatut, or however you say his name. Ramatut. Moon Knight is the closest thing they have to Batman. Both very different, but also similar. How could they possibly screw the show up? See, that's where I disagree entirely. Fundamentally, they are completely different heroes, but that's just me. Suri G said, I like the Moon Knight show. It's just the problem with Moon Knight is he's a very complicated character to make a show about, and I did like it for what it was.
Yeah, I liked it for what it was.
Chillmonger said, oh, you're jaded? I refuse to pay for anything Wakanda related again. And I just lied. I'm sorry. He said Raymond 2000. He go back on his word immediately. And then, yeah, D Sizzle said they focused way too much on the DID thing. It was a very lopsided show with very little Moon Knight. I mean, they could do the DID thing. It didn't bother me. They just acted like Mark Spector wasn't this motherfucker's main personality the whole time. Like,
yeah.
And that's what annoyed me. Jake was cool, but, like, that was just not... All right, let's get past the Moon Knight stuff a little bit here. CJ Vasquez, or Velasquez. Oh my god.
I just call him CJ. Velasquez.
Yeah, CJ
it's
said
Velasquez.
Disney and Marvel Studios will never give up on the people who love the most, and never give up on their movie franchise projects and TV series, because they'll find the solution is to make things better. If you say so, bro. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, I'm not gonna agree with you either. I think they're just getting lazy. That's just my opinion. Raymond 2000 said, still on it, Moon Knight, Daredevil, Night Thrasher, and maybe Spider-Man have similarities to Batman, including Batman having the ability to beat the crap out of all of them. For me, the only time something in the films was better than the comics version was Blade. Still wish he was British, but making him a human/vampire hybrid was genius. As D Stizzle right there, I agree. Not again 90 said, I really hope we get a Rama Tut in the F4 movie. D Stizzle said they already squandered the House of M idea in WandaVision. Yeah. But I mean, that's what we got.
Yeah.
Raymond 2000, you guys forgot the T'Challa Jr. series with Anthony Mackie reprising his role as Captain America to mentor and train the young king. It's depressing at this point. It's not even funny anymore.
Yeah.
The Jinx one said Mephisto and Ironheart as cameo armor. That's the thing. You're gonna. I mean, that's why I'm thinking kind of too. Like, why would you have Mephisto and Ironheart and Agatha and Ironheart to make people watch Ironheart?
Yeah. I don't have much to say when it. I mean, because not that I didn't enjoy Dominic Thorne as Riri Williams. I said that in the review. I did. I thought she was great. I thought Dominic Thorne was great.
I thought she was fine.
I thought she was great. I thought she was funny. She did her part.
I mean, she did stand out to me, though. I'm not saying she shouldn't be Ironheart or she should.
She was the equivalent of America Chavez in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Agreed. Which I didn't mind, but nothing blew my mind about the character.
Yeah.
D Stizzle, and this is also a very great point for my man D Stizzle. Abomination is one of Hulk's most dangerous foes, and he's played for standard MCU laughs. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything
Hulk related that should be like.
That's why I'm not interested in that at all.
Earth busting and horrifying is played as a joke. Let's see here. Be a Blessing said, not Shang-Chi. Hope he loses his sidekick. I was not a fan of what was her name in that? Katie?
Oh,
Shang-Chi's?
Awkwafina's character?
Yeah. Katie?
I think it was Katie.
Yeah, Mrs. I picked up a bow and arrow in one day and can shoot through maelstroms. Yeah. Chillmonger said James Gunn would baby Thanos. Let's see here. J. Rob said, I just want to see Luke Cage invade Latveria and beat on Doom over $200 and then I can die. And official Liam G said he needs a season 2 on Miss Marvel. I'd rather have a movie though because her powers and budget. I don't give a shit.
For a Miss Marvel movie?
Yeah. I'm not against her. I think it's fine. I guess I could do a movie. I guess I could. I
don't know if I could.
I mean, we're gonna get more Miss Marvel.
I like Amon Vanali. I think Amon Vanali was.
I'm not knocking her.
She was great.
It's just that series we talked about. Some of these series ain't meant for me. You know, I'm not the target audience, and that's fine. So I don't give a shit. Let's see here. And D says that when Doom heard there was a crazy black man, he knew it was Luke Cage. Okay, let's see here. Almost done. Oh yeah, Asher wants Squirrel Girl. He wants some thick Squirrel Girl. I'm not too worried about that, man. I just want her to be able to whoop everybody's ass in the MCU. And then Pookie would say anything Wanda related, including Monica.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And Diesel said it's funny. There's a possibility Marvel might do Squadron Supreme, but they changed Atlantis.
Right? Isn't that kind of funny?
And then I remember when Bucky faked his death in Fear Itself. There's a comic issue where Natasha discusses dying and resurrection being a double-edged sword. Yeah. Let's see here. Rain 2000 said, I'm gonna be real. Once I see them announce Black Panther Enemy of the State, at first I'll gag and look at my bank account and put aside money for that $50 movie tickets.
Yeah.
Raymond, we don't need Sydney Sweeney to play Squirrel Girl. It'd be okay. Alright, but we're pretty caught up here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot we could see. There's a lot they could do. I really want them to move into Fantastic Four, Mutants, Doom. I want them to bring in the things we Marvel fans want to see more of.
Right. Well,
I do want I even want we talked about earlier. I'm really excited to see the street levels. I'm really excited to see a Ghost Rider, Blade. Like, they can do a whole lot, but as we're different as far as Marvel fans go, I like the street level. I like the blades and I don't like the walking god space adventures as much as I do the gritty, dark shit.
Right.
But that's just personal taste. We still like Marvel a lot, and I'm just glad that they're now expanding into territories everyone can enjoy.
Right. Well, moving into the next topic there, we've got the X-Men's plan for Secret Wars. So obviously, everybody's asking, where are the X-Men? Where are the X-Men? Why aren't we gotten the X-Men yet? And we know that the X-Men play a role in Secret Wars. And to tell that story, as we've talked about before, there are some key people missing in the MCU in order to properly tell some of these stories. But that does not mean that these stories still cannot be told. Look at Infinity War, look at Civil War, etc. These stories are still being told, and they're still being told, even Age of Ultron, obviously. And they're still being told in brilliant ways. But some of them, at least. But the X-Men looks like Kevin Feige, as we've talked about before, we talked about this a few days ago, that Kevin Feige obviously does have a plan for the X-Men. And it is saying goodbye to the Fox X-Men. So the Fox X-Men are going to be the X-Men that are going to be ushered into the MCU for the time period of Secret Wars. I'm not just talking about Secret Wars. They are going to be used moving into Secret Wars. So they are going to be the X-Men that we are going to see in the MCU. Before we see our actual mainstay X-Men during the Mutant Saga. So with those X-Men coming in and Kevin Feige having his plan, as everybody knows, we talked about this a few nights ago. He got his start on the Fox X-Men back in 2000 under Bryan Singer. We know that Bryan did not want to have any of the any of the comic books or anything on set. He wanted it to be his own thing, but Kevin Feige kept going to Hugh Jackman and saying, to him, in order for you to play Wolverine, you have to know Wolverine. So he was sneaking them comics and everything, and then, things like that. And so I've shown this before, but I'll show it here too. This is, Hugh Jackman kind of just talking here briefly about how Feige operates and the things like that. And then I'll move into what that means, or what this is going to be doing with the X-Men for the time being in with the Fox X-Men rather, for the time being in Secret Wars and on and on.
They haunt you.
That was my whole goal.
I know, totally.
you know what I'm thinking. Are you also curious just now as a fan to see what X-Men will be like in the hands of Kevin Feige and
100%. Kevin was there as X-Men 1.
Sure.
When I went for my first audition, the audition that was really not a real audition because Dougray Scott was going to play it.
Right.
And I think I was sent up there just to kind of send a message back to Mission Impossible 2, like, you better hurry up because we're going to start looking at other people.
Right.
I didn't think it was a real audition. Even then, Kevin Feige said, let me drive you to the airport. I said, dude, you don't have to drive me to the airport. Like, I was kind of saying, it's okay, man, I know I'm not getting the part. And he said, no. And not only that, on the way, he says, come on, let's just grab a bite to eat. And we just sat, and him, Tom DeSanto, myself, had dinner. And in my head, I was just going, you're a good guy. And when I got the part, I remember going into his office,
right,
wall-to-wall comic books. And by the way, comic books were banned on the set. Because Bryan Singer had this thing that people would think he really wanted to take comic book characters seriously as real three-dimensional characters. And he said, people who don't understand these comics might think they're two-dimensional. Mm-hmm. So no one was allowed. Everyone, it was like contraband. I'd never read X-Men. So people just slipped under my door. I'm having a look. I'm reading these things. I'm looking because I go, these are brilliant. Look at the physicality. And so I would go into Kevin Feige's office. And I was like, Kevin, and it was wall-to-wall, not only comics all over the posters, but about 600 figurines of different characters. And I'll be like, what should I read? What do you use? You got to read this one. You got to read the Japan. You got to read the Origins. And so he was slipping me stuff, and we've stayed friends ever since. And nothing makes me happier to know that someone who is purely creative, purely a lover of the legacy of those comic books, is this successful. You hear all the time, Hollywood's run by suits. And I go, Kevin Feige, that's not a suit. If it's a suit,
that's real passion.
If it's a suit, it's like got a cape and it's an X-Men suit. There is nothing corporate about him, and yet he's incredibly successful. And I love it.
Do you think you would ever?
So yeah, that's Hugh's thoughts on Feige there. So obviously Kevin Feige wanting to do the goodbye that he's wanting to do with the Fox X-Men. Grace Randolph also reported on this, and I know everybody has their deals with Grace. I have my deals with Grace too. But Grace Randolph, when it comes to her videos, when it comes to her show, I'm out. But when it comes to her being a credible scooper, I will give credit where credit is due. She has been on spot with on par with a lot of other credible scoopers like My Time to Shine, Hello, Daniel Rickman, etc. So she also reported on this too, that this is what Kevin Feige wanted to do. He wanted to bring them in to say goodbye. And we've also heard that, in Deadpool, that the Fantastic Four, the Fox Fantastic Four, are going to be showing up in Deadpool. And again, these are kind of leads into the unspoken promises that we've talked about for Secret Wars. Like, heroes that we are going to be seeing. And Kevin Feige's always said, or been saying, that he wants to bring a lot of these characters on screen together. Characters from before Marvel was the MCU. And some of the people he's wanted to bring in is obviously Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, James Marsden as Cyclops, Halle Berry, back as Storm, Famke Janssen as Jean Grey, Rebecca, I forget how to pronounce her last name, as Mystique, and then Anna Paquin as Rogue, and I just didn't like Anna Paquin as Rogue, but her coming back as Rogue. And, recently Kelsey Grammer also just said that he would love to come back as Beast in the MCU as well. So I think that it's going to be the main core team of Fox X-Men. So we don't expect to see like your Jubilees or anybody like that or Gambit. That's not going to happen to the Mutant Saga. But with the Fox X-Men, it's going to be the core team that we typically saw. And then plus you still have their variants, which is the stuff with Michael Fassbender. You've got the variants of the Fantastic Four, which is your stuff with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan, and those are expected to be showing up as well. Their iterations are going to be expected to show up as well. So right now, it looks like until after Secret Wars, these are the mutants that we're going to get in the MCU. So until Secret Wars is concluded, the Mutants MCU is going to be the old Fox X-Men.
And see, that's interesting to me. My number one thing is, however you do it, get them in. They're Marvel's most popular thing besides Spider-Man, right? Get them in. I do think it's interesting because a proper send-off could also mean quite a few deaths. And that would be pretty cool to see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can kill a Rogue because we're getting a real one. This isn't 616 Rogue.
Right.
We can kill a Wolverine.
Yeah.
We can. They can have those heroic deaths, those heroic moments, those proper send-offs.
Yeah.
But I think however you're going to do it. Sorry, I was so locked into when he said you got to read the origins, you got to read the Japanese. I was like, is my boy
Feige?
Yeah, I was like,
probably.
My boy a manga fan?
He probably is.
What's going on here? But, I mean, I don't either way. I do think it's interesting and it's telling, like, for someone that's never, ever read a comic book before, right? Trying to portray a superhero, it's interesting because some of the best things you can do is, I just can't believe there's so many people involved in these projects you can walk up to and go, hey, everyone's here for the Thor movie? All you 200 people, how many of y'all have read a single Thor comic? And watch the whole crowd just, that one guy in the back's like, huh? It's interesting. But regardless, to go into the X-Men, I think it would be good. It makes them more disposable, and I mean that in a proper way. Just the things they can do with them in Secret Wars is a lot more fun. And these are established versions of the characters.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm for it.
Yeah.
They're also, actually, this is my last thing with it, they're characters we all like. I mean, granted, we both talked about, I didn't give a shit about Rogue.
Right.
I didn't. There were certain castings I didn't care too much for, but, like, I like them enough, the group, enough that it's like, hell yeah, I'll see them again, and I'll see them off, and then show me new ones.
Right. Nope, I agree. So, no, I think, it is still a minute away before we get our actual X-Men, but this is where we are. You're going to get the Fox X-Men as our X-Men moving into Secret Wars, and I mean, it's the X-Men, so I'm not upset. Especially it's these guys that we got to see already portraying. Especially you throw in their variant versions, Michael Fassbender and the rest of them, and we get to see it done in the MCU this time, not within Fox or anything like that. I mean, even though we only got to see Black Bolt for a little bit, that was really dope. It was really dope. So, there we go with that. So, as always, question is for you guys, though. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. Are you thinking, hey, I would rather see our X-Men over the Fox X-Men. I'm ready for the mutants to officially be in the MCU. Or you're like, this is cool. Excuse me. Or you're like, this is cool. And another thing I'll add to that, the reason I'm not upset about this is because they are taking their time with a group that is loved. The X-Men are loved. And if you want, and in a time in the MCU where you've already got fans like, what is going on? I don't care. You're not taking it seems like it's more quality over quantity over quality. Them taking their time with the X-Men to get such a diverse group correct, such a like I said, beloved group correct, I'm okay with it. So if you want to give your proper goodbye while you're still getting everything together for your mutant saga, I'm fine with it. And if that's the side of the fence you're on, again, let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. What are the comments saying? Or the chat.
Let me see here. Let's see here. J. Rob saying, Hugh, come on, he's a little bit corporate. Versus Raymond 2000 saying, oh, Feige took him out to eat. I mean, yeah, we're still talking about upper echelon Hollywood, but like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real honest with you too. It's kind of, while this is telling of like Feige knows comics, right? It's also telling that like no one else in this industry does.
Yeah.
What makes Feige different is he just reads the source material. Like, come on. That's why everyone's
he's
like...
a fan. He's a fan first, I believe.
Right. Well, and I'm not shitting on Kevin Feige saying that. It's just like it is also kind of telling if you look at this from the other perspective where he was like, he was sneaking me comics about the character I was playing because no one else fucking did. Like, what? Come on.
Yeah, no.
And I get as an actor, it's just his job to play the character, but...
I think, like I said, Kevin Feige is just a fan of not just Marvel, he's a fan of DC, but as I've said so many times, his big love, his ultimate love is Star Wars. He loves Star Wars more than he loves Marvel.
And then, I actually read that as a kid. He didn't read comics. He was a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Seeing Chillmonger here saying the X-Men. Thank you for chilling with us, Chillmonger. Like, good to see you still in here, man.
Yeah, the X-Men. They are. I saw who was it? Franchise that said retirement party or retirement. Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. They're the X's.
Yeah. D Stizzle said, "I always liked Hugh. He's a great actor, but I need a more comic accurate Wolverine from the jump." Or I needed a more comic accurate Wolverine. I was so young when the X-Men movies came out. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be some elitist and be like, oh, I cared so much. I was a kid.
Yeah, I was really young when that one came out. When did that came out? In 2000? I was in first grade.
Yeah.
Kindergarten, because like the years went with our graduation. Like when we were
born 93, right?
Yes, but when we were in second grade, it was 2002. When we were in third grade, it was 2003.
Because we were 7. We were 7 in 2000. My kid's in second grade, and he's 7.
What grade's he in?
Second.
Oh, second.
So we were in like 3rd, 4th grade, maybe.
That couldn't have been.
In 2000?
In 2000, no. We graduated in 2012. We were then that was our senior year. Our year always went with the year that it actually was.
That is great.
Yeah, like when we were in 4th grade, it was 2004. When we were in 5th grade, it was 2005.
I was also in transition. Did you go to transition?
I did go to transition.
That plays a factor into it. Because we didn't go 12 years.
That might have been it then when we were in transition. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah.
Either way, yeah. But I know what my whole point to that is I was so young that I didn't know. But now that I've seen a more comic accurate Wolverine, I would like to see it depicted.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Diesel said not a fan of Foxmen reunion / retirement party, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, it definitely does seem like Feige's making that choice.
Yeah, he is.
It's a choice he doesn't have to make. He could just bring in the X-Men for 616, but he is choosing to go out of his way to bring in his old
But if they're
franchise.
doing a whole saga over the mutants and he's wanting it to be special and be its own, because
No,
I'm telling you, if they
it's just
it's definitely a passion project. It's a passion thing.
Right. And franchise said, shit, multiple deaths, not bigger by Feige. Let's see here. And then franchise said you can finally connect their stories, which, that's another thing we did kind of leave out on that.
Yeah.
Pookie Wood said Rogue's my favorite character, and I haven't liked the movies from the very beginning because I didn't like Rogue's portrayal.
I didn't like her portrayal either.
And then And again, 90, my question with the X-Men returning in Secret Wars, my question is, with X-Men returning in Secret Wars in a huge making... and with Hugh making his last appearance in Deadpool 3, does that mean we'll have a Wolverine-less X-Men? A little weird seeing the gang without Logan.
Are you talking 616? Our mainstays?
I'm just saying, I promise you, Hugh Jackman will be in Secret Wars.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be in Secret Wars.
Fucking
yeah, he's going to be in Secret Wars. Because
the X-Men
the Logan,
Wolverine for Secret
the Logan
Wars.
we're getting in Deadpool is not the Logan from the Fox universe. He's because from my understanding, we're seeing several different Logans. One, and the Logan that is going to be the main Logan in the movie is from Hugh's words, is a much angrier Logan than we've seen, and he has the comic accurate suit and all that.
And franchise said cool because they given a proper way for their finale. Raymond said they're going to regret strolling and taking their time on the X-Men later. I mean, I agree with that.
Maybe so.
I think they need to get him in. But Diesel said Kevin was young and hungry back then, but he's made some bad decisions with the MCU, in my opinion. I'm coming at.
Everybody's coming for Kevin today.
Not Again said, I was also young as hell when the very first X-Men came out. And,
yeah.
Rim 2000 said, I was like 5 months when it was released. I remember seeing it 5 times. Good times. You were 5 months old? In the year 2002? That's wild, man. I don't know why I feel like everyone's older than me, or everyone's gonna be older than me.
No, we were young.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And then DeJinx said Days of Future Past felt like a proper send-off for the original team.
I love Days of Future Past.
Yeah. Diesel said my main complaint about X-Men 2000 is Logan was way too tall. Anna was a horrible rogue, and Magneto was too frail looking. I agree with that. Magneto's fucking terrifying in the comics.
Yeah. Yeah. He is. I love him. Love Magneto in the comics.
Yeah, Anna as Rogue and Kristen as MJ was awful casting to me. Completely agree.
Kristen Dunst, yeah.
And then Reem 2000 said, imagine he's actually the MCU version of Wolverine. They've been lying to us like they always do. Wow, Marvel loves lying, don't they?
I would not want to see Hugh as our mainstay
and Raymond
Wolverine.
is 22 years old. Look at that. I always feel like I'm younger than everyone.
Yeah, I would not want to see him as our mainstay Wolverine.
Yeah.
But the last one here, before we get into the recast stuff, very quickly, the plot, and not to go too hard on this, there's the plot leak that came out, because I want to move to the next thing quickly here. So I'm going to spend like maybe 2 to 3 minutes here. But the plot leak that came out for Fantastic Four lines up with everything that we've heard in the past. You know, you had Peyton Reed that came out that wanted to make the Fantastic Four film and make them displaced in time from the MCU, that they were going to be, not displaced in time, they were going to be in the past, rather, I'm sorry. They was going to be in the 60s, that's where the film was going to start. Well, then let's take it to Multiverse of Madness, where you had Doctor Strange talking to Reed, and then he said, well, you know, didn't you guys chart in the 60s? And then people thinking that was just a joke, but it's actually something being played on. Then you had the most recent rumor come out about the Fantastic Four showing up in a post-credit scene for Quantum Realm, and that they've been in the Quantum Realm this whole time, which has now led to the plot leak and rumor and theory out there that the Fantastic Four film is going to take place in the 60s, like Peyton Reed wanted it to do, and then it's going to, within that film, they're either going to end up in the Quantum Realm, because, yeah, they're either going to end up in the Quantum Realm, but also... Yeah, I'm sorry, just end up in the Quantum Realm. Now, either they've ended up in the Quantum Realm because they've gotten trapped, or the theory is that they've chased Kang into the Quantum Realm and then got trapped. Got stuck in there, rather. And then they're going to come out in Kang Dynasty, come out of the Quantum Realm in Kang Dynasty, chasing the actual Kang, the actual Nathaniel. That is the theory that's going on out there right now, and I'm not opposed to that at all. And, you know, being in the Quantum Realm, and that's another thing, that they wouldn't get, because you remember, Kevin Feige said, you know, the Fantastic Four have been done many times, but we want to do something fresh and new. So I don't expect for them to get their powers from a storm in space. I believe that they are going to get their powers within the Quantum Realm. Somehow something's going to happen to where they're going to get their powers in the Quantum Realm. And it's not going to affect their age, because, you know, you don't age in the Quantum Realm. Like Scott Lang said, I was in the Quantum Realm for 5 minutes, when in reality it was 5 years. So you've got this going on with Fantastic Four,
It
and
doesn't make a lot of sense.
it
They
does.
haven't been involved in anything so far.
Right, because they've been, they're in the quantum realm. So it does make sense. And if you remember too, I will say this. There are just the other things to just add to the rumors for the Fantastic Four. You had Michael Waldron that came out and said, after Multiverse of Madness came out, we've talked about this, that was going to be a post-credit scene. It was going to have Reed Richards, our 616 Reed Richards, replaying the events of Multiverse of Madness. We were going to see a stretchy hand reach in front of the screen, then pull back, and it was going to be our Reed Richards. But that was then changed, and for, I'm sure, the plans that they have for them moving forward. And, Daniel Rickman tweeted this, so I will show this quickly, that he did tweet out about the Fantastic Four. Let me make sure I show that. He said Marvel Studios' upcoming Fantastic Four will be set in the past 60s. They will be a team out of time. Neither Kang nor a Doom is the villain. Kang will be in the movie, but he's there to connect the group to the two Avengers movies. It's not strictly an origin story, but we'll see. Oh man, why is it on that screen? My apologies. Not supposed to be on that screen. But yeah, so there it is that Kang is going to be in the movie, and that's where the theory's leading to, that they are going to be chasing Kang out of the quantum realm and then end up in Kang Dynasty, to where they meet our 616 heroes and everything. Makes a lot of sense
too, with them going after the Kang, because it could even be an Avengers moment where they're like, how do you know yours is worse than ours, and la-da-da, and he's like, he's related to me.
Right, yeah.
Like, trust me, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that this is a really good idea. I really like this idea. How I felt about the Marvel's First Family in the beginning. I've been so ready for them to bring them in. I wanted it to be done correctly, because as we've said, the iterations that we've had have not been the best iterations. But with Kevin Feige saying that they wanted to do something different, put a different, fresh, new spin on it, this whole quantum realm displaced in being from the 60s timeline, chasing Kang, I am on board. I'm on board. And knowing that Kang's not even the villain within that film, he's just, so that's what I'm saying. It's interesting. That's how you could there you go with the whole Conqueror special. You get him in Fantastic Four, then you got the fans like, oh my gosh, okay, which Kang is this? Then you see that Kang with that Fantastic Four and Kang Dynasty and all of our other heroes. Then you lead into the Conqueror special. Then you lead into the events for Secret Wars.
Right.
So I like the idea. I wanted to make it quick. There was more there's not really much more. It was just, kind of going through that quickly here. So yeah, that could be their origin story.
I mean, I said before when we first talked about Fantastic Four that I had my trepidations on how they'd handle it, but that right there, jumping them right into the meat and potatoes of the story, that is the kind of stuff that I think like I said before, they need to get them in. Yeah. This is literally them jumping right into the most important part of the story.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it sounds cool. I really do. Mm-hmm. So, but as always, question is for you guys. Let us know down below what you guys are thinking. What are you guys thinking of the Fantastic Four? Are you thinking this is a cool idea? This is the way they should be brought in? Or are you thinking, I really wanted that traditional origin story, but as we've seen, we did not get Spider-Man's origin story, and look how great his 3 films turned out. So I think if done correctly, with the way the MCU's going, with the way the timeline and how they need all these things to quickly connect before Secret Wars, I think that's honestly, in my opinion, the best way to bring the Marvel's First Family in.
Oh, absolutely.
So let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. What is the chat saying there?
Let's see here. Not Again 90 said, I trust Kevin's approach to the F4 story and lore. Spiri G said, oh my god, I love that idea. Be a Blessing said that would be different. If true, hopefully it's done right. This might be the most comic accurate film we've gotten in a while. They also fought Rama Tut in the comics.
Right.
Franchise says it definitely makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Jinx One said, I think Fantastic Four villain should be Mole Man.
I've said that. Didn't I say that? I said that like when we first talked about it. I think Mole Man would be a cool one, but does it fit within the whole quantum realm deal?
Right, could.
It could.
D Sizzle's been a fan of Fantastic Four since childhood, specifically Human Torch and the Thing. So Yuri G said that would explain the line Doctor Strange came off as a joke. He really might have meant Multiverse of Madness when he asked Reed, aren't you a group from the 60s?
Yep.
J. Rob said, "I'm not feeling that idea only because I want Johnny and Peter to have that friendship, and I don't see that happening if Johnny is acting like an extra from Grease."
Well, it's one of those things where you kind of look at it. You look at Thor. Remember when Thor first came to Earth, how he acted? He didn't know how to act around Earthlings, but then you saw him in Ragnarok, where he was in New York and taking pictures with fans and things like that. Like, I think if acclimated correctly, you could, get him in to where he could be like that normal, this is the whatever year they're in the MCU, where it's like, this is no longer the 60s, bro. Like, that'd be a cool little. I think that'd be a fun little relationship with Tom Holland and whoever's playing. So yeah, but I feel you. We've talked about the relationship between Spider-Man and Johnny before. They were roommates at one point. So
especially, that's that heartbreaking chapter I'm sure everyone's read where Johnny dies, and it's Peter and Franklin Richards sitting there and they're talking about it, and Franklin's like, I think I could have done something. Like, I think I could have stopped it. And Spider-Man's like, I could have stopped my Uncle Ben from dying. And it's that heartbreaking chapter.
Yeah, so like I said,
D-Stizzle clarified it's the Moloids. Not Again 90 said, I'm okay with the F4 origins being warped a little. The same was done with Spider-Man, and it was bangers.
Yeah.
Though I do need a good villain if Kang is not going to be maybe a quantum villain or creature. And then Raymond said the kid from Riverdale should be Johnny Storm. What comic is that conversation for? Oh, what comic? I can't tell you. I can look it up, but I've seen it I saw it via Reddit, but it's a comic where, let me see if I can pull it up real fast.
The kid from Riverdale. What kid from Riverdale? I was thinking. I know a lot of people were saying the kid from Outer Banks. The blonde from Outer Banks. But did you get my text?
Let's see here. So yeah, I'm not sure. If you go on to Google and you can literally type in Spider-Man Greaves with Franklin Richards, it'll pull it up for you to pull up the Reddit post and everything like that.
Are we ready? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving to the final topic here, we did say yesterday that we would watch a little bit of the Jaded Fanboys video, and so we're gonna watch a little bit of what he had to say about Recast. We'll see a little bit here, and then because I've seen the video. Trey, have you seen it in its entirety?
No.
Okay. We'll see a little bit of this here, and then the call has been answered. We are going to have Jaden on, or Jaded. We're going to have Jaded on the show here in just a moment. So the call has been answered, and he will be on the show in just a moment here once we are on. So let us see this here quickly, and then we'll move in. Oh, let me address that super chat. That is so very much appreciated there. That is from Man Comic Fan that said, my older brother was going to watch Wakanda Forever for T'Challa and called me up pissed because he wasn't in it and he's not even into comics. Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to see the real ramifications of what is going on with not having a character for sure. So let's go ahead and get into this video here. And that super chat is super appreciated, bro. We really do. And again, to what you said, I don't blame your brother, because that is now starting to be the main topic. And I think it's going to be even more of a topic next week after this second weekend. So,
and honestly, I saw us, that's the main thing I'd see RecastTchalla was us and the group specifically on the internet. I'm seeing it more and more.
Yeah, I'm seeing it more and more. Yeah, yep. So let us get into this, and then we'll let you guys. We'll bring Jaded on. So bear with us one moment. Let's get into this video. It's muted, so they can't hear you.
I've been advised by counsel that making this video was probably a bad idea, and I'll probably get in trouble for it. But the thing is, nobody else is bringing up this point, so I have to do it. And in regards to the whole recast T'Challa, argument, the recast T'Challa discussion, and the whole recast T'Challa controversy, there's a certain aspect in regards to the recast T'Challa issue that needs to be addressed, which is it never should have happened in the first place. There should never have been a recast T'Challa issue in the first place. Because this entire argument, this entire discussion is a non-starter. This argument and this discussion should never have existed in the first place. Because Tony Stark is gone. There's no more Tony Stark in the MCU. Not only is Tony Stark gone, Iron Man's gone. Tony Stark and Iron Man will never be in the MCU again. They're gone. Iron Man, the biggest character of the MCU, the literal poster boy of the MCU, the most popular MCU character, is gone, is no longer in the MCU. Where's the recast Tony Stark? Where's the recast Tony Stark? There is none. It's like, oh, no more Tony Stark? No more Iron Man ever again? Oh, okay, bye, see ya. They've already got his replacement. His replacement isn't even another person wearing the Iron Man suit. Again, there is no more Iron Man. Tony Stark is now being replaced with Riri Williams. Iron Man is being replaced with Ironheart. Oh, that's fine, no problem. Now, there are some people who have an issue with it being Ironheart, but the idea of there being somebody else replacing Iron Man, whether it was War Machine or Ironheart or whoever, everybody's fine with it. Everybody seems to be okay. There's no protests, there's no petitions, there's no demanding of recasting of the most popular character in the MCU. Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is gone. There's no more Steve Rogers.
Bro, this is
Now, there's still a Captain America because, Sam Wilson will be taking over, but Steve Rogers is gone.
Bro, I hate the way this man talks.
Where's the recast Steve Rogers?
Can we fast
Steve
forward?
Rogers, Captain America.
Hold on.
Steve!
has
Steve!
what is considered two of the best MCU movies. Oh yeah, thanks, Steve.
Fuck me up.
Thanks, Steve. Bye. See ya. He's being replaced with Sam Wilson, who's not even really going to try. I don't know how they're going to actually work out the Captain America thing. They're kind of changing him or whatever, but.
What is he getting to? What is his point?
Steve Rogers, major player in the MCU, gone, and you're all like, yeah, okay, bye. Oh, he's gone. Oh, well. Oh, look, they got somebody else to be the new Captain America. Okay. We're not everybody's crazy about it, but nobody's going, oh my God, recast Steve Rogers. Black Widow's gone. Natasha Romanoff is gone. No more Natasha Romanoff.
Bro,
no more Black Widow in the MCU
I'm in
ever
so
again.
Much pain and he is an idiot.
I know.
She's a major player, and she had her own movie.
What is his point?
It didn't do well because it was during COVID, but no, Natasha's gone. No more Black Widow. Oh well. Okay, bye. See ya. Oh, and by the way, we got your replacement, Yelena. Okay, no problem. Clint Barton, it's gone. No more Clint Barton. No more Hawkeye. He's a major player. Well, obviously not as comparable to T'Challa, but again, he was a big character. Yeah, okay, bye. See you, Clint. No problem. Oh, by the way, you're being replaced with what's her name? Kate Bitch. Whatever. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Disney getting rid of major characters is an established aspect of what they do in the MCU. T'Challa is just simply the next one in line. the fact that the MCU has killed off other characters, including major characters, big actors, characters, unfortunately, no matter what you think, characters that were bigger than T'Challa are now gone and no longer part of the MCU. Some of them have their mantles changed hands. No more Steve Rogers. No more Tony Stark. No more Clint Barton. No more Natasha Romanoff. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So the idea that there's no more T'Challa should not be a shock to any of you, because the MCU having their characters no longer be in the MCU
How long is it?
is something they've already established that they do.
We won't finish the whole
You know this. Not only do you know this, you've accepted it. You've come to terms with it. You have accepted
if you just help me start it, if you need to
that
leave,
there
that's
is no
fine, too.
longer Tony Stark in the MCU. You have accepted that there is no longer Iron Man in the MCU. You have accepted that there is no longer Steve Rogers in the MCU. You have accepted
But if you
that
can,
there
I
is
would
no
love- I mean, I
longer
would love
Clint
it, but I
Barton in the
understand.
MCU. You have accepted that there is no longer Natasha Romanoff in the MCU. You already
We're about to
know that there are MCU characters that are no longer in the MCU. You have already accepted the fact that there are MCU characters that are no longer in the MCU. You understand that Disney has gotten rid of MCU characters and will never have them in the MCU
Bro, I
ever
stole his growing
again.
voice.
Now, I know where you're going. Oh, no, it's not fair. It's two different things. See, with those other characters, the actors chose to leave. With Mr. Boseman,
That's
it's
not
different.
it, though.
He unfortunately passed away.
That's not it.
He didn't get to choose that. They ended up doing it for him. So what? So what? Hate to break it to you,
Oh, they can hear
RDJ
us.
does not own Tony
mics
Stark
work.
and Iron Man. If Disney wanted to go, yeah, we want to keep milking Iron Man, yeah, Tony Stark doesn't die in the movies. He just has some accident and we're just going to have him do facial surgery and we're going to have another actor keep playing the Iron Man character. They could have easily have done that. Why wouldn't they want to keep milking their biggest character? The problem was RDJ is so intertwined and connected to Tony Stark that you can't replace Tony Stark with another actor because they're too connected. The actor is too connected with the character. Do you see where I'm going with this? Steve Rogers did not have to be sent back in time and be written out of the MCU. Natasha Romanoff did not have to die because her death in the movie was literally irrelevant. It was so shoehorned in and it was so forced that it made it irrelevant. Natasha did not need to die. Tony did not need to die. Steve did not have to go back.
If you want an insider fact about Natasha Romanoff's death, it was going to be Clint.
Yeah.
It was going to be Clint. They decided there that it was going to be Natasha. That whole plot had relevance, purpose, and point. It wasn't shoehorned for shit. They just flipped the coin and decided Clint lives.
Well, the whole argument that, all these guys had their stories or that they chose to leave. Chris Evans didn't have to go back in time, or the idea that, these characters' stories are the difference. Let me put it this way: the difference in everyone he named, Tony Stark, Captain America, Natasha. We've seen them in a span in the MCU of over 11 years. 11 years or so, 10, however many. We saw T'Challa in one movie in a handful of cameos.
Well, I think the bigger difference is the fact that, the other ones had, like, their characters are written off on purpose, right? And they made sense within the confines of the MCU. Chadwick died. This is an unprecedented thing that happened. And it, in my opinion, didn't fit into anything they'd done in the MCU. Actually, the whole movie didn't make plot sense for every narrative they'd given so far.
Right.
You cannot compare two different things like they're the same thing. I'm sorry, you can't do that.
No, I agree.
You're trying to draw... It's a straw man argument, because the argument isn't there, it doesn't exist. You're talking about why A is the same as B when A and B are two entirely different things, from its inception to the reason it happened to everything. It doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. One moment here, because I'm going to get jaded on, so bear with me one moment, but while I'm doing that.
Back in time, and Clint did not have to wander off into the sunset, into retirement. If Disney wanted to, they could have had all four of those characters be in some type of accident that would have caused them all to have, reconstructive facial surgery to have them all look like the new actors that they were going to be replaced with. The problem is these actors are too synonymously linked to the characters that the audience wouldn't have accepted it. And Disney went, you know what? It's just easier to just get rid of them and replace and find replacement characters for them with different actors. The MCU has done this multiple times already. What the MCU did with T'Challa, the MCU has already done with other characters. The MCU has established that when an actor is no longer going to be portraying the role of the character, they retire the character. When RDJ left, they retired Tony Stark. When Chris Evans left, they retired Steve Rogers. When Jeremy Renner left, they retired Hawkeye. When Scarlett Johansson left, they retired Natasha Romanoff. Well, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman is no longer able to portray the role of T'Challa. So what did Disney do? Well, Disney did what they did every other time an actor was no longer able to portray the role of the character. They retired the character. They've already set that precedent. Why Disney didn't use that as an explanation as to why they didn't recast T'Challa is beyond me. Now, don't get me wrong. The justification and how Disney has handled it is absolutely pathetic and garbage and deserves to be called out and trashed and exposed for all of the lies and the hypocrisy and the bullshit and the stupid that it was. I'm not defending how Disney handled it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But as far as Disney's concerned, they've already done it multiple times. They retired Tony Stark. If they figured that they could retire Tony Stark and the audience didn't have a problem with it, why would they think that if they retired T'Challa the same way they retired every other character, that there would be an issue? And at the same time, if you as an audience are aware that the MCU retires the character after the actor is no longer available to portray the character, why are you suddenly surprised that they did it with T'Challa? There's no reason to have expected otherwise. I understand that the circumstances in regards to why Chadwick Boseman is no longer able to portray the character of T'Challa is different. The problem is it's irrelevant because the end result is still the same thing. Despite how and why Chadwick Boseman is no longer able to portray the character of T'Challa, the end result is still Chadwick Boseman is no longer able to portray the role of T'Challa. And what's Disney's solution to that problem? Retire the character. There is no reason to have expected anything different. you should have no more expected Disney to recast T'Challa as any of the other characters. Because like I said, they did not have to kill off Tony Stark. If Disney wanted to keep Tony Stark going, Tony Stark wouldn't have died in the movies. They would have kept him alive. But there was no expectation of them recasting Tony Stark when they killed him off. When it was known that RDJ was no longer going to be playing Tony Stark, there was no expectation of, oh, they should recast Tony Stark. They shouldn't kill him off. Oh, Chris Evans is leaving. He doesn't want to be Steve Rogers anymore. Well, they shouldn't write him off the MCU. They should recast him. There was no expectation of recasting Tony. There was no expectation of recasting Steve or Clint or Natasha. Well, if there was no expectation for those characters, guess what? There should have been no expectations in regards to when it happened to T'Challa. Well, if there should never have even have been the expectation in regards to T'Challa, then there's no reason for there to have been the issue of recasting T'Challa in the first place. Hence, the whole recast T'Challa issue is a non-starter. It never should have happened. There should have been no more, there shouldn't have even have been the expectation of them recasting T'Challa. Now, I understand that there are other reasons for the whole recast T'Challa that I also have issues with. The thing is, that's getting into sensitive territory, and I don't think me soapboxing my counter-argument is an appropriate format, because it's more of a discussion or conversation, because there's also personal issues involved, and again, me soapboxing my counter-argument, I do not consider an appropriate way of discussing those issues. But that aside, I don't even know where to go from there. I don't even know how to say it back. But I guess it's like, there's two main reasons of the whole recast of T'Challa. One is to basically counter-argue Disney's pathetic way of handling the whole issue and their lame and ridiculous justifications. But the other main issue in regards to the recast of T'Challa is there never should have been even the expectation of recasting T'Challa. Hence, there never should have been the recast of T'Challa in the first place. Anyway, I said my piece. Take it as you will. Obviously, I'm not intending on changing anybody's mind. That's not the point. I just think it's an aspect of the whole recast T'Challa issue that really isn't being discussed and isn't really being covered. And I figured since nobody else is going to do it, I might as well do it because I'm here for you. I do this for you. It's just anyway, God, now I gotta go see. The kind of guaranteed, I'm gonna wish I wanted to. Guaranteed, after watching it, I'm gonna wish I boycotted it. But anyway, that's a whole other issue. Anyway, I'm done. I'm out of here. See ya.
All right. So, everybody's been waiting for, us to react and see what I was going to say to that or whatever, and I stand on what I said. It's the same thing for me. It is it's a big difference. I know he mentioned there at the end that he didn't want to get into the sensitive things, but the sensitive things are the meat and potatoes of the entire thing. Knowing that Steve Rogers is gone after seeing him for 11 years, 3 movies, and all the cameos he's in, That's fine. And we also know that Chris Evans has signed contracts to come back in the MCU to portray the role of Steve Rogers moving into Secret Wars. These are things that we know about these characters. We also know that Natasha will be back. Scarlett Johansson as Natasha will be back. We also got to see Clint. We got to see that Clint had an entire family. We got to see that Clint got to marry the woman of his dreams. We got to see that we got to see Clint's family even be dusted, in that whole thing. So we've gotten to see all those things. We got to see Tony have a family, as I've mentioned before. We got to see Tony and Pep, as I've mentioned before. We got to see Tony have conflicts with the Avengers. We got to see him somewhat lead the Avengers besides Steve. We got to see him save the world. We got to, not on numerous occasions, we got to see Tony mess up. We got to see Tony be the fault, really, of the reason why the team broke up. And Steve, honestly, too, involved in that. We got to see those conflicts between those characters. We didn't get to see any of those type of conflicts with T'Challa in the MCU. So when you say that, okay, they're gone, or whatever, or when you say that that Chris Evans and these characters are gone, no, these characters we got to see these characters for numerous years. We did not get to see T'Challa. We saw T'Challa for a handful of cameos in one movie where he died 3 times. That is not the same. So I think when you come in and you say things like, also when you say, I understand him not wanting to get into the sensitive topics of it and things like that, but at the same time, that is what this is all built upon. That character, as we've said so many times on this channel, was created in the height of the civil rights movement for literal representation. I don't see how you look at this character, how you look at the RecastTchalla movement, how you look at any of this, and your ultimate conclusion is take color out, because the sensitive things, or those are things I don't want to touch on, obviously, but take this, not seeing color. You can't look at T'Challa and not see color. The character was made for color. So when there's no way to take color out of the situation. No, the character has to be continued on in the MCU. Why? Because we didn't see anything of the character at all. Do you think we'd be sitting here complaining if we got to see a complete story? And there would still be some people complaining about T'Challa's death. I'm not going to sit here and say there wouldn't be. But there would still, because there were people that complained about Iron Man's death. Hell, we talked about it. We've talked about it right here on this channel. Jon Favreau called the Russo brothers and said, "Y'all are crazy. You're gonna piss fans off. This people look up to this character, and you're just gonna take him off the screen." And then the Russo brothers said that they were on the phone with him for hours trying to talk, their words, not mine, trying to talk him off a ledge, because he's like, people are gonna get up in the theater and walk out. This is unacceptable. Can't believe you guys are X, Y, and Z. Blah blah blah. So if all these people were saying these things, you've got all these people, see how upset they were. So I'm sure people would have been upset about T'Challa still being off the screen regardless. But at the end of the day, this is a character where we got to see this character progress. We got to see those characters progress. We did not get to see T'Challa progress. And for me, I felt like that was the round and round table that we were going in there with that entire thing. But for me personally, no. It's always going to be RecastTchalla. And to say that you shouldn't have expected Marvel to RecastTchalla, no, we definitely should have expected Marvel to RecastTchalla, because this is unprecedented. We've never seen this. And to say that there is no recast, I'm sorry. My apologies. Bear with me one moment. And then to say that there is no recast Tony Stark, or recast Natasha, or recast Steve Rogers, for me, that's just different. Again, there is no recast movement for them, because there's no reason to have a recast movement for them, because we also know that those characters are coming back within the MCU. We don't know that T'Challa's coming back because of the legacy that Chadwick Boseman played on him. So don't come in the comments, people, and say, oh, well, we also don't know if T'Challa's... No, we do know. Go look at the most recent video we put up with Nate Moore. Go look at some of the other stuff that Marvel has said in regards to T'Challa. They won't even say his name. He's been removed from Avengers Campus. He's being removed from video games. They're going to erase him out of comic books eventually. T'Challa, the character, we know nothing about. And now you're just taking our fantasy character off the screen. As I've said again so many times, we've had so many of our actual heroes, our real-life heroes, that Chadwick Boseman has portrayed, gone. So it's a little confusing. I don't understand where the logic on that comes from. Let me see here. I'm trying to get Jaded on. Bear with me one moment. Bear with me one moment. Bear with me one moment. Sorry guys, bear with me. See what the chat, what you guys are saying there. Oh, I know you guys were saying a lot, but bear with me. We're about to get Jaded on here so we can talk this one out. I see Spoiler King says Iron Man over 6 hours of screen time, T'Challa 64 minutes. Right, that's what we're saying here on that as well. Be a Blessing said, you can't help but talk about the sensitivity of the character. None of this argument makes sense. Exactly. I mean, that's the meat and potatoes of this entire argument here. Let's see. Jaded, can you hear me? Jaded, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I apologize. I couldn't get the mic to it. Wouldn't accept the mic.
No, you're fine. I was it's complicated for me as well. So no, you're fine there.
Okay.
But no, we have you on here. So as one of the things that I was going in with them on was, they were just looking at the video there. For me, I guess.
By the way, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, this is what I said last night. I definitely wanted to. I'm trying to see if I can make your screen. Maybe not, because we both have to be on there. But I definitely wanted to come on with you and be able to discuss, like I said last night, I encourage people to come on and explain to me. But we talked a little too, and in that talk, you are pro recast. It isn't a it's not a like you are against recast. It's just we see recast, I guess, in different ways.
In different ways.
Right. And first of all, before we even get into this, I do want to say this. I did say this last night, but I do want to say this publicly. One of the things that I always say on my channel here is when we get certain comments and the comments are completely left from what we said in the video, I then often ask, well, did you watch the video in its entirety, or did you just base your opinion off of the first few seconds? And last night, chat, everybody knows that is the approach that I took on it. I approached your video based off of the 3 minutes that I was in it. Now, however, when I did that, I'm coming from a stronger, I guess a different view as a different view of recast than you are. So when I see typical comments like RecastTchalla is dumb started that way, and then going into saying, well, Tony Stark this, Tony Stark that, those are typical comments that I see most of the time from what I assume would be an anti-recaster, but like I said, you are not an anti-recaster. So that's why I came in so hard on that. But again, it makes me feel and look hypocritical when I come in and say I hate when people do those things on my channel, and I turn around and do it to another content creator without figuring out how you exactly feel and watching your video in its entirety. So I wanted to come off the bat and apologize for that.
Oh, hey, no problem. Hey, it's your channel. It's a very passionate topic. If you see 99 other people saying the exact same thing, it's not that shocking that you're going to think the 100th person is going to do the exact same thing. So
Right, right. Well, getting into obviously why you're here. At the beginning of that video, that's when you were saying how Tony, we didn't hear about recast Tony Stark, or Steve Rogers is not, and that's the view, that point that you're coming from it with the only problem I have with that, or the problem that I have with that view, is that something that I said, we kind of talked about, but we've the difference in T'Challa, and like you said, you're not interested in story, or you're interested in stories, not interested in the arcs or anything like that.
Right.
But we didn't even get a story. There were so many stories that are for T'Challa, that they could pull from, that we didn't get. They could have done any story besides the story of putting him 6 feet in the ground. And the difference in his character in the MCU and Tony's character, or Steve or Natasha or Hawkeye and the others, we've seen Hawkeye's, we've gotten to see Hawkeye with his family. We've seen his wife. These are things we didn't know about him from the beginning that we learned through the progression of his story being told. With Tony, it was kind of the same thing. We saw him at the beginning being the spoiled brat that he was, eventually falling in love with Pep, and then having a child with Pep, saving the world numerous times, and then also breaking it at the same time, causing a fight between the Avengers, but also for good reason, in my opinion, because of Cap. The whole situation between his mother and father, getting to see how his mother and father died, working through that grief with him, and X, Y, and Z. With Natasha, we kind of got to see, she got her own movie, got to see the back, even though her movie was a piece of crap and late. We got to see Natasha's story somewhat there. We learned within the MCU fans, they learned that her father is Red Guardian. She's got a stepsister in Yelena. We've gotten to see her always be there to help the Avengers and be one of the founding members of the Avengers and things like that. With T'Challa, he's only been in the MCU on screen for 64 minutes.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where it's like,
I'm not challenged. Okay, the thing about T'Challa not having a story arc, or a complete story arc, I want to come on that on a couple of angles. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. He didn't have a complete story arc. My question is, how many movies can he have before you go, okay, we don't want T'Challa in the MCU anymore? Like, how many movies? Like, if he did 2 more movies, and you go, okay, he's had his whole complete story arc, you can now get rid of T'Challa. You can't, because that's not the reason why you want T'Challa in the MCU. Whether he has a story arc or not is irrelevant. The whole point of the recast T'Challa is we want a strong black character representation. So you can't go, well, if he had 3 more movies and they completed a story arc, okay, fine, you can get rid of T'Challa. Doesn't work. So the idea, again, your argument in regards to the fact that he doesn't have a story arc is understandable, but that's not the point of recast T'Challa. The point of recast T'Challa was, and still is, have a strong black character who is not just in the MCU, but is a top tier character, which T'Challa is, and which T'Challa rightly deserves and earned. His story doesn't end if he has a story arc.
No, and I agree with that. The story doesn't end if he has a story arc, but at the same time, it felt like your entire opening, or if not the bulk of the video that you made, was comparing the fact that nobody's saying recast, Tony Stark, or no one's saying recast any of these others. But the reason no one's saying any of that about them, even though recast T'Challa was not built upon the story of T'Challa, that is a factor in it. That is one of the things that people are saying is, yes, we want him recast, but we want those stories too. The same way we got Tony's story. That's why no one's really screaming a recast Tony. Not only that, knowing the direction the MCU is going, we know Tony's coming back.
Okay, but at the time we didn't, though, is what I'm saying.
Right. No, at the time we didn't.
Yeah. Yes. I'm basically saying when it started. Obviously, the information and stuff that happened the year plus, you guys are applying. I'm not applying to, because the whole point was it never should have started. The argument of the story arc is not part of the petition. The story, the closest you get in regards to the RecastTchalla petition is the number one way to kill a legend is to stop telling his story.
Right.
And I agree with that 100%, because there are a lot of stories. Because, hey, I'm sorry, I want to see Storm and T'Challa. I want to see them get
Likewise.
together. Okay, so even if T'Challa had a 3-movie deal and Mr. Boseman never got sick, never passed away, and said, okay, I'm walking away because I have other projects we want to do. Well, guess what? I still want T'Challa's stories to continue.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, Iron Man. Okay, here's the
But
thing
it-
in regard to what. Here's
Go
the
ahead.
thing in what. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, here's the reason I brought up the comparison between Tony Stark and Steve and all that, is that the audience, the general audience, didn't care that Tony was no longer within the MCU. They don't care about any. No offense, I want more Tony Stark. I want Iron Man still to be in the MCU. There are a lot of people that still would like Iron Man to be in the MCU, that would like Steve to still be in the MCU. God knows I want Clint in the MCU, and I don't want Kate Bishop being Hawkeye. But we're not, which is why I said there's no recast. Not because of the cultural significance. Of course not. There's not even any comparison in culture, because it's not even in the same argument. I'm saying the idea that Iron Man, whether he had a story or not, who cares? I still want more Iron Man stories. I still want more Steve Rogers stories, just as those who are in the
Right, and I see that point. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I do see that point. I see what you're saying. So, but even and again, with T'Challa, let me go back to what you said there about seeing their stories. Even if Chadwick Boseman wouldn't have passed away and he just walked away from it, I see what you're saying. It still would have been the same thing. Even if it wasn't a tragic death. For me, I assume a hashtag RecastTchalla would have still started if they would have made the decision. Okay, well, we're done telling those stories, like you're saying they kind of did with Iron Man, with killing him off. You still want to see those stories, even if Robert Downey Jr. just walked away due to whatever.
Which is why I said RDJ does not own the rights to Tony Stark and Iron Man. Just because RDJ left doesn't mean Disney's going to go, well, guess we can't do Iron Man anymore because RDJ doesn't want to do it. No, screw RDJ. They want to still milk the Iron Man character, still sell more T-shirts, still promote his character. They could have still done that. I'm sorry, they did not have to kill Tony, especially considering how forced and how ridiculous it was on how he died in the first place, because he never should have got it. That's a whole other issue.
Right. Right.
Same thing with Steve Rogers. No offense. When I saw Steve Rogers being right, I go, what is this, a soap opera? Did he get right? Why is he being written out of the MCU? He didn't. Yes, he got a happy ending. So what? I still want more Captain America, just like I want more T'Challa, just like I want more Hawkeye. The problem is, for the majority of the general audience, and I'm not talking the comic book fanboys, the general audience, because you had released a clip earlier today about anti-recasters explain why T'Challa should no longer have to be in the MCU. Mm-hmm. Because to the general audience, they don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care.
That's why I don't argue with the general audience, the anti-recasters.
Because, hold on, excuse me. When you talk to the general fan base, the general audience, This is a quick and dirty way that I explain it. With you and me, there's and the general, comic book fan base, or the comic book fanboys. There's a Spider-Man movie. There's a Black Panther movie. There's an Avengers movie. There's a Daredevil movie. To the general audience, there's a comic book movie, comic book movie, comic book movie, comic book movie. They don't care they don't care if it's a Black Panther movie. They don't care if it's Spider-Man. To them, it's all the same. It is a comic book movie. So when it comes to T'Challa, the reason they don't care if there's no more T'Challa, because it's like, okay, T'Challa's gone. Shuri's next. Who cares?
Right, but that's not.
Care.
That's what I'm saying. These are people. For me, that's why I don't argue. My comments, as I've said in the past, my comments to anti-recasters has just been, you know what, you're right, I'm wrong, go off, do you? But I'm just like, for when they come in with that I don't care attitude, yes, just accept Shuri as Black Panther. I'm like, it's you're not understanding where. Not you, but they are not understanding where we are coming from when we're saying recast T'Challa. You're coming from a place of, I loved the Black Panther film that I saw in 2018. I thought, because Marvel told me, because they're all brainwashed, because Marvel told me that Chadwick's iteration transcends any iteration, that's law, that's how it stands, and now I feel the way I feel, so your hashtag is disrespectful to the man's legacy. That's how they all feel, and I'm just like, you know what? You're right. Go off, because they don't understand the lore of this character, what this character truly means.
And they don't care.
No, they don't.
That's another issue.
They don't care.
And the whole lie. I'm calling it a lie now. I was saying hypocritical, but now it's a lie. The whole lie of honoring Mr. Boseman and honoring T'Challa was gone within the first 5 minutes of that movie, because of Wakanda Forever. Because that movie went out of its way to kill T'Challa, out of its way. Because forget just the herb, forget just having taken the herb. I'm watching Shuri. I'm going, why didn't you put him in the cryostasis chamber like you did Bucky? Freeze him, and you have all the time in the world to be able to get the cure. No, because if they do that, then they can't kill T'Challa.
Right.
So it's like, it's not just that you're killing T'Challa. You're going out of your way. So saying that, so that excuse of honoring T'Challa and honoring Mr. Boseman is gone.
Right. Because it was never that. They never wanted to honor, and then that was never it. It was always about just keeping business moving and lining their pockets. That's all it was. And to take it back here, now you were saying at the beginning there that the whole recast T'Challa movement never should have happened, and let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You're saying that because even if Chadwick Boseman did not pass away and he just walked away to pursue other projects, you would still, again, like the rest of us, I'm on that same train, you would still want to see T'Challa's stories told just through a different actor. That's what. And so are you saying that the movement should have never just been started in general? Are you saying Disney should have never forced this movement to have been started? I want to make sure I'm
both. Because I don't know how far you got into my video.
I watched the entirety.
Okay. Disney has a mentality. Disney got rid of Tony Stark, and the general audience was like, yeah, okay, no problem. And it's like, oh, okay. We got rid of Steve. Audience was like, okay, no problem. It's like, okay. They got rid of four of the major Avengers that were basically the heart of the MCU.
Right.
And Disney saw the reaction of the audience and went, oh, okay, they don't care. So in Disney's mentality, having, again, Mr. Boseman, yes, he passed away. But in Disney's eyes, because again, Disney doesn't go Black Panther movie, Spider-Man movie. They go comic book movie. Because as far as Disney's concerned, every one of these characters, not the actors, but these characters are disposable.
Right.
Because you get rid of one, they got two more waiting. Take a look at the lineup for phase 6 and 7. They could never have Black Panther ever again. They don't care.
No, they don't care.
No.
Because
they got 10 other projects coming. So when they go, okay, Mr. Bozeman is no longer able to portray the character, they use the same mentality they did with the 4 other characters. Bye, character's gone. They thought the exact same thing was going to happen the last 4 times they did it. Nobody was going to say anything. Little did they realize that there is a very passionate, avid fan base that goes, no, we want T'Challa's story to continue. And I said, why didn't they just use the excuse that it's like, hey, we did this 4 times before, you didn't care. We didn't realize this. Because here's another thing about, sorry. Here's another aspect of why the recast T'Challa at the beginning never should have happened. Disney doesn't care about the fans of these characters. They do not care about us. They stopped caring about the fans of these characters right after the Avengers movie. They do not care. So to me, you expecting Disney to actually care about a small group of people compared to, like, I'm sorry, as much as there is a lot of people who want to recast T'Challa, you're maybe 2-3% of the general fan base. You were 2 or 3% of the ticket payers. And Disney's going, we can ignore you. We can ignore
Oh,
you.
yes. I mean, if I just put up a video where I was breaking down Nate Moore's 2 recent interviews where he said, I mean, those are his words. He said, sometimes the fans think they know what they want until they see, oh, okay, that's what, what we showed you is what you actually want. He said, but sometimes as we have to block out the fans and do our own thing. Those are Nate Moore's words. So, of course, they don't care, and especially when it comes to the recast. I understand when he was saying block out the fans, he was specifically talking recast. I've been dissecting and understanding Nate Moore now for a while. I know what, so.
So the point I was bringing up is those who started, I believe it was E-Man, right, who started the recast T'Challa. Well,
right.
I'm sorry. You guys are not naive. You know Disney is going to ignore you. And when and I forget who it was, but he had said, we are killing off T'Challa, and T'Challa will no longer be in the MCU or the 616. And I heard that, and I'm going, well, why? What do you guys think you're going to do? Change their minds? Because you're giving them a petition?
Right.
I understand your frustration. I agree with you're right. It's not that you're wrong. It's that you're right. Disney doesn't care that you're right.
Right.
And for me, it didn't make sense for those of you who were as passionate as you were. You knew what you were up against. And for you to go up against Disney and expect Disney to go, oh, okay, we're going to do it differently because, 80,000 people signed a petition? I'm sorry, I don't buy that. I don't see that.
I don't think in the recast crowd that obviously we were hopeful. I don't know how much we were like saying though, if we get 100,000 or 80,000 or 60,000 or whatever, that Disney is gonna see this and they're gonna change their minds because this 80,000 people. I think it was more of a hopeful thing and like hoping that Disney can just see what's going on, that there is a group of people out here. But to rewind it back to what you said there at the beginning of that, when you said the recast crowd came out and Disney might have seen it and said, oh, well, you guys, we didn't know that you guys cared that much because you didn't care about the other 3 that we took off the screen. Now, I think my rebuttal to that one would be, I think as fans, we understand, and I understand also, I still would like to see Tony Stark in the MCU. That's not what I'm saying right now. But I'm also saying, this is what I'm saying. I think we understand that we are seeing a connective story being told here. And with a connective story being told, even like if you were like with watching Game of Thrones or watching House of Dragon, those 2 series, although they take place 100 years between each other, you know these characters' names from Game of Thrones. We've heard Rhaenyra's name. We've heard several other characters' names. You take it back, then you jump to House of Dragon, where you see what's going on in House of Dragon, and now you're seeing these characters, seeing these names. So I think with that, we understand that's a connective story there. So it makes sense for Rhaenyra not to be in Game of Thrones because her story was told in House of Dragon and she died out. So with a connective story being told, I think we understand that as the recast crowd. That's why the hashtag I can only speak for myself, but that's why I would assume that the hashtag recast Tony Stark or hashtag recast the others is not there because we are telling a story. But T'Challa's story within that story being told was the most minimal story being told out of all of the characters that stories have been told. I think that's where they're coming from there.
Right. I just don't think it was minimal. It was cut off. It was simply cut.
Right.
Like they just went, okay, we're done. We don't care anymore.
Right.
So again, I agree that he didn't have a story, a full story arc, but Disney doesn't care.
No, they don't. No.
This is what is the most bewildering aspect in regards to Recast T'Challa. You know Disney doesn't care, and you had said Hope. This is I've been making a joke about this. When it comes to the MCU, Hope always seems to be involved. I hope the next movie is good. I hope the next movie doesn't suck. I hope this next phase is better than the last one. I hope they fix this character. I hope they don't screw this character up. Nobody goes into an MCU movie with, this is going to be good. I'm going to enjoy this. There's always hope. And guess what? Disney has squashed all hope.
Right.
Believe me.
Right. And then see, now I'm going to touch on that, what you just said there. I'm going to touch a little bit on the side that you're not really that you understand, but you didn't want to touch on, and that is the representation side of it, the cultural side of it. You know, I'm speaking from the Black community. We have had our heroes taken off the screen. Or not off the screen, but out in reality. You know, I'm using Chadwick Boseman here because that's what the recasters keep using. Chadwick Boseman played a real hero in our community in Thurgood Marshall. He played a real hero in our community in James Brown, a real hero in our community in Jackie Robinson. So when we're talking recast too, and Disney not caring, well, there has been other things that our community has strived for to get, and I'm not talking films anymore. I'm just talking within our community that we've been trying to get people to care about. But in trying to get people to care, if Rosa Parks, and I understand this is not the same thing, but it's that cultural part of it. It's that cultural part. It's the representation part, and it's the not giving up part. If Rosa Parks would have got up and just said, "Oh, because they don't care, I'm just going to give up and go sit where they tell me," or if Martin Luther King would have said, "Well, they don't care because they're still out here beating us and sending the dogs on us and spraying us with hose because they don't care," if they would have had that attitude just because they don't care, I wouldn't be able to sit here today and have this conversation with you. So we understand that. I agree. Right, yeah, right. And we understand that Disney does not care. But as I've said before on my channel, just speaking for the fanatics out there, it doesn't, for me personally, even though I know they don't care. I've said they don't care. But it doesn't stop because they need to understand you may not care, but your consumer does care. The plight is still there. It may not be the same, but the plight is still there. And culturally for us, that is a fictional character that was created in the height of the civil rights movement for black little boys, for them to have to look up to. We have never been seen in that light. We've never seen us as sitting on a throne or in an uncolonized nation or anything like that. So it starts to come, that's where it really comes hard for the recast crowd, because it's like representative-wise, we need to be seen. And that's where I would say, even if they say they don't care, it's still one of those things where it's like, okay, we get that, but it's still going to be but T'Challa. I understand you don't care as a company. I understand that you're like, this is business for us. This is show business. We're going to continue to do what we've got to do to line our pockets. As Nate Moore said, we block out what the fans think they want. But again, it's still those things. Even though you say you block it out, he's brought it up in interviews. He said, we've heard the talk back. So you understand, you see it. So even if you don't care, you're seeing it, and you're gonna, because even in their opening weekend, they saw it. Whose name trended all weekend? T'Challa's. So you may not care, but you're seeing it. You're seeing the backlash, and this next second weekend is going to be really telling for that whole thing.
Right. Which again, there is the cultural aspect, but again, me soapboxing my opinion.
Right.
Is irrelevant, right? So.
Right.
And I understand your position and the idea of that, because let's say I'm not going to give any predictions on Wakanda Forever, but let's say it doesn't do very well. Are they going to go? My fear is, because a lot of the hope is, if Wakanda Forever doesn't do well, Disney will go, well, okay, obviously we'll have to bring back T'Challa. because we want to make, money with this character. But my fear is, let's say Wakanda Forever doesn't do well. They're going to go, okay, the general fan base doesn't care about the Black Panther IP. We won't even have Shuri as Black Panther. So I think with Disney, because like if this was phase 1 or phase 2 and Black Panther was part of the main team, it's different. We're in phase 5. We're going to be entering phase 5, and they've got 24 other projects ready and willing to release. As far as I'm concerned, the fear that I have is that if Wakanda Forever fails, Disney's going to go, okay, the general public don't really care about the Black Panther, so...
I would agree if it weren't for that mid-credit scene. They have their own agenda that they want to do with T'Challa. They hear recast, even though they don't care. They hear recast, and they're saying, well, we're going to give you T'Challa, but it ain't the T'Challa you want. It's going to be his son. And we're going to tell his stories through his son, because I'm only trying to put pieces together here. That's something over on our channel we do. We cover hot topics, leaks and things like that. And one of the hot topics, obviously, has been Wakanda Forever. And looking at Ryan Coogler's interviews when he was talking in the interview, and he said that, when he first got the job for BP to direct, they gave him a chest of Black Panther comic books that he read front to back. And then in that same sentence, he said that, in that story, you actually, T'Challa's origin is different from our MCU origin. And in the comics origin, he loses his son, he loses his father at a young age to Claw, and then he inherits the throne. Wrong, he didn't inherit it, but that's what he says. He inherits the throne and things like that. So when he was bringing up that, I think that they are going to now take I don't know that this, I have no insider information. I don't know if this is true, but I think they're going to take T'Challa's story and inject that now onto little TJ, T'Challa Jr., where they are going to now have him growing up without his father, just like T'Challa did in the comics. He's going to inherit the throne, or hopefully earn the throne, because that's how T'Challa, his father, earns it in the comics, earns the throne, and then becomes the king or ruler of Wakanda and the Black Panther. I believe that's how they're going to do it. So you get your T'Challa recast, but you don't get the one that you want.
BSK, I'm jaded. And because of that, when I saw that scene, I swear to God, Ryan Coogler put that scene in and said, that should shut him up for a while.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree.
I'm sorry.
That's the only reason.
Scene, and it was just to throw the recast T'Challa crowd a bone, to hopefully shut them up for the next 2-3 years.
Yes.
And then hopefully it'll all blow over and nobody will care.
Yep.
I mean, you can have your theories. That's great. I saw it, and all I saw was, because I'm sorry, I still remember Iron Man 2 from 2009 when they when they recasted Rhodey, because I loved Terrence Howard and I did not like Don Cheadle. And I can still remember in the movie, Rhodey going to Stark, it's me, I'm here, deal with it. And that's their mentality. And that has never left me in regards to how I view the MCU and Disney and their treatment of these characters. We're gonna do whatever the hell we want. Hell, look what they did with Thor and the Hulk. Well, yeah, they don't care, because guess what? Thor: Love and Thunder made over 750 million. Oh, that's fine. They're good. We'll keep doing it this way. We don't care how many of the Thor fan base we piss off. Let's say Wakanda Forever ends up making 700 million. Disney's gonna go. Let the recast T'Challa crowd whine and complain all they want. We're making 700 million a movie because the general audience didn't care.
No, and I completely agree with you. That scene was, even though people have their theories, I don't care one way or another. I saw the mid-credit scene before I went into the theater, and after I saw it, I saw it a day prior before I saw it, the film. Had I not bought my ticket and not had this channel, I would not have seen the movie after only seeing the mid-credit scene, because again, that was your way of saying, here, shut up, there it is. I've said, yeah, I don't agree with it. I just, in the whole premise, as we talked about, you and I talked about the whole he's hiding his son, and that contradicts the whole storyline from the first film and all that. So it's just like, no, they don't care. They're doing what they want to do, how they want to do it. And as I've said before to many people, I'm not going to stop saying recast T'Challa. I'm not going to stop doing our views over it. But at the end of the day, I don't see any inkling of hope that we are getting him back. There's nothing. They've shown they've shown proof. They've said it. They've doubled down on it. They're done.
Double down on it. Yes.
Yeah. So
And again, I'm not saying recast T'Challa shouldn't happen now, because again, it's morphed from what it was when it started.
right,
And
definitely so.
I'm literally referencing when it started, how and why.
Right.
But again, what it's grown into, because again, what it's grown into is different than how it started. Because it just simply, it grew and became, it morphed into something a lot more than what it was originally established as.
Right. No, it definitely has. It's gotten a lot bigger than what it was. And, like I said, that's why with context and a conversation and seeing your video in its entirety and hearing where you're coming from, your point of view of it, obviously we, like I said, even before the film, there were pro recasters that were no T'Challa, no ticket. However, that wasn't the way I felt. We still want the same things. We just may not all have the exact same view on how to get there. Right, but we all want the same things. And I think this is what I mean on my channel all the time when I say these are the type of conversations that need to be being had. But obviously, I personally don't want to do it with someone that's just like, oh, this, the people, you know what I mean. So yeah, these are the conversations that need to be being had, because it's understanding where one person from the next person is coming from, and then not trying to change anybody's mind or anything like that, but just having the conversation.
Like I said at the end of the video, I know I'm not going to change anybody's mind. That wasn't even the point. It was just simply addressing a factor that I honestly don't think the recast T'Challa should have started for the reason it did. Because it's like, this is what Disney does. Why would you think that they're going to do anything different just because it's T'Challa? They don't care.
Right, they don't care.
They do not care about the cultural importance or the cultural relevance of T'Challa's character. They don't care.
I agree.
And that's basic. And that's why I brought up the comparisons, because to the guy who's hosting you, he was going, what's my point? I had to set up the premise to be able to make the comparison. That's why it took so long. And I'm sorry my voice is annoying. I don't have a great throat, sorry. And a shout out to whoever it was yesterday who in the chat did the joke about the breakfast and the orange juice and concentrate. But it was hilarious.
I don't remember who said that. I don't remember who said that. But yeah, no, like I said, Jaded, again, that's why I wanted to have this conversation. That's why I should have viewed your video in its entirety. And again, like I said, that
you still wouldn't have agreed with it.
Oh, no, I still don't.
I'm not expecting anybody to agree with it. Not expecting anybody to agree.
Right, like I said, I see your view though. I see where you're coming from, and that's the most important thing is understanding where you're coming from instead of just jumping on, like that. But I do understand where you're coming from. We both want the same things. We want to get there. We want to make T'Challa back on the screen, as well as see other characters that we love. So yeah, this was a great conversation. It was great having you on. Most of you don't know, I'll go ahead and share now. Myself, Jaded, and Chillmonger did a private conversation last night where we discussed and we talked about, basically had a little filler conversation before we had this conversation today, and got to know one another and hopefully built a bridge with one another. Definitely going to be going on with Chill some other time with Jaded, and we're going to be doing Chill's Saturday streams where he does his 33 burning questions. So if that's this weekend, I believe. Did you get that link? Did he send you a link for this weekend? Okay, so that is for this weekend. So if anybody wants to come on over to Chill's channel on Saturday, Jaded and I will both be there, and Chill will be hosting it. So come for a great time. But again, Jaded, it is appreciated you being here.
Oh, hey, I was like, oh my God, somebody actually knows I exist. It was just somebody was talking about me. I was just like, oh, please say more, say my name more. It was just so cool. It was just weird. I was geeking out. It was ridiculous.
No, like I said, it's cool too. And like one of our viewers, ADCTW, was kept all week. He's been, have you seen this yet? Have you seen it yet? Have you reacted to it yet? And I'm like, no, I keep forgetting, but I'm going to do it. And if right before we were about to end yesterday, I saw his comment and said it. Had we not watched it again, we wouldn't have been able to have this conversation. So I'm glad it did happen. So
Hey, I'm just glad that we both know Chill to be able to even get the connection.
Right. Yeah. Shout out Chill. Chill is, it's in the name. Chill is chill, bro. That is a friend of mine for sure. So Jaded, I appreciate you being here. I thought it was a good conversation on other topics that you might find passionate, or you might be passionate about, or we might disagree on another topic that I would love to have you on, and we can talk that out too. So loved having you here. Great conversation, and I will be with you on Saturday with Chill. See ya, bud. Thanks. All right, everybody. So everybody saw that. Everybody got to see the two of us talk about that. And like I said, I really meant that at the beginning there. That is something I also said to Jaded last night, and that was that I always come on here and I sit and say that, you know, when people view our videos or people comment ignorant things on our videos that counter to anything that I just said in a video, I always ask, did you watch the video in its entirety, or did you just go off of the things that made you mad? And of course, like I told him too, as a pro recaster, when I hear someone saying, oh, the RecastTchalla movement is stupid, or I hear someone saying, and here's why, you know, you weren't crying about these characters or whatever, I instantly go to the mess that we as pro recasters in these heavy spaces see on Twitter. I instantly think to myself, oh, this is just another Twitter person that doesn't know the character, blah, 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 blah. But as a content creator, and as him being a content creator, and me saying the things that I say about people being hypocritical and things like that, that made me look bad, I should have viewed his video in its entirety before I got out and tried to just slam the video. It's still RecastTchalla. Don't get it twisted. It's still RecastTchalla. We had a great conversation. And as you know, it's still RecastTchalla for Jaded as well. He thinks that T'Challa should be recasted as well. So great conversation. That's the point that I want to be making. And so, yeah, I appreciate him coming on. So anybody have anything that they would like to say? I see the chat was going here a little bit. Let's see. I got Cole Turner that said great convo, guys. Sub to both. Appreciate it, Cole. Appreciate you being here. Cornelius said that's the component of RecastTchalla, but that's not what RecastTchalla is. Yes, that's what I was saying too. It is a component of what we are screaming, but it's not the ultimate reason of why, you know, it stands the way it does. We got Spoiler Kings that said, but doesn't the character story need to lead to something meaningful at the very least? Of course it does. You know, the points, again, me and Jaded see things differently, but at the end of the day, I still feel like he is. He's going to feel the way he feels. I feel the way that I feel. But at the end of the day, we both want the same thing. But yes, I completely agree with you. The story needs to be told for it to be meaningful, for at least one reason. The Stizzle said, I remember Kevin Feige gave an interview during Phase 1 implying these characters would be recast when the actors eventually leave, and the mindset obviously changed somewhere down the line. Right, I agree. It has changed down the line. I would like to see that one. I haven't seen that, but I would like to see that interview too. Spoiler King said, so after Secret Wars and we get Iron Man and Steve Rogers return, and we're stuck with T'Challa, then what? You know, great question. That is a great question. That's yet to be seen. We'll have to wait to see on that one. Grace said MCU casuals. Franchise said sad but true. Spoiler King said 100%. That's the point. That's not honoring Chadwick at all. Cole Turner said, yeah, Disney does think that. They do not think logically with the differences. This is what every corporation does. It makes them think they can get away with it too. They do. Raymond 2000 says, so he's agreeing now. I don't know if he's agreeing. I know he's not agreeing with, you know, the side that I'm coming from it at. We still just agree that RecastTchalla should be, or that he should be recasted. Brian Gosling said, just stopping by. Appreciate it, bro. Planet Poppy said, I'm so confused. There were moments. Step back 40. I'm sorry. Staple block 40. Step back. I'm sorry. He makes more sense in the context of your conversation today. Yes, that's what I was saying. After viewing it in its context, instead of just looking at the first 3 minutes, it does make sense where he's coming from, for sure. D Stizzle said, I've seen fans upset at Natasha dying. Tony, not so much. I've seen fans upset with Natasha. Brian Gosling, I read that one. Be a Blessing said, okay, but that's not how I explained it in your video. Last of My Kin said, oh, I'm here for this. Gray said, they're not ignoring those box office receipts right now. No, they're not. Brian said, actually, I'm a C, even though I missed half the live stream. Let's see. Spoiler King said, but silence is acceptance. Yes, that's what I was saying. That's why I kind of brought up from the cultural aspect, the cultural standpoint. You know, if our ancestors would have just stayed silent and just accepted it, we'd probably still be in shackles and eating. We're maybe not so much shackles. We might have moved away from that, but still eating and dining in separate places, schools in separate places, separate water fountains, separate neighborhoods, separate all those things. If they just would have stayed silent, I understand. That's not the same thing it's not at all the same thing when it comes to Recast T'Challa, but the cultural aspect of us always being told to just shut up and get over it is a 400+ year struggle that our people have been dealing with. And we are not going to be told to just shut up and get over it, or that you don't care about what we're screaming. Whether or not you care about what we're screaming, we're going to continue to scream it until we see the progress. Had our ancestors stood there and said, no, stop screaming because they don't care, we might not be having the conversations we're having today. So that's the point I was making with it too. Gray said, not everyone Recast T'Challa signed the petition. True. D Stizzle said, I've been no T'Challa, no tickets since Kevin's ridiculous 2020 announcement. Gray said, and people who watch the movie are now Recast T'Challa. That's true. I've seen a lot of people converting to being recast because, again, it just doesn't make sense. Franchise said the character's ties to majority of what's currently going on, which includes Secret Wars, TJ is not. That is very true. We've talked about that here. How do you explain some of these things? Spoiler King said Disney saw that because they added TJ at the end because they thought it was good enough. That wasn't part of the original script. No, it wasn't. Even though Nate Moore says it was not. I'm sorry, it just was not. D Stizzle said nope. Gray said not all, but some of the people who saw the film. Franchise said right, cut Doom, bring in the child and the DNA, no DNA testing. Be a Blessing said, so it's responding to Cole. Pookie Wood said, it's still worth doing. Yes, it is. I think if you're talking about you're talking about, yes, professional or Profess the Film fan said, I disagree. They brought in Charlie Cox because of the fans. That's a very true point. That is a very true point. They brought Charlie Cox. That is I forgot about that point, Profess the Film fan. I forgot about that point. There was the hashtag Save Daredevil that was going around. And at first, we didn't know if we were getting Charlie Cox, but Charlie Cox even says it himself in an interview. If it had not been for Save Daredevil hashtag going around, he doesn't know if he would have gotten the phone call from Kevin Feige. So yeah, it really does matter. I forgot about that's a very damn good point. Forgot about that point. Be a Blessing said exactly. Raymond 2000 said the closest we got to that was the Eddie Murphy in Remember the Time video. That Raymond Franchise said then you give T'Challa a villain. BM hell nah, yeah. Pookie Wood said, well, we can always take our money over to DC, praise their movies if they are good, and tag Recast T'Challa there. Also, at least DC is listening. Yep, and we're getting great portrayals of black heroes so far. We've got Aldous Hodges' portrayal of Hawkman. I'm interested to see what they do with Jon Stewart and also what they're going to do with Mr. Terrific and any others that they bring in. We've got Gray that said, Nakia, you want... Y'all talking about... Damn, I'm sorry. These comments keep moving, and it's moving the chat. I gotta find you again, Gray. Hold on. Now it's not letting me go up. Hold on, Gray. Okay, that's not letting me go back up there. So some of those might be missed. It's only going up to Brian. Brian, where he started with T Dizzle. But so let me start with Be a Blessing then. TJ and KJ battle it out in the next. LOL. Gray said T'Challa skeeted and got blipped. Then next day, everybody know the babies Wakabis. We've got moved again. Hold on. All right, we got Profess the Film fan said, what about John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic? We've got D Stizzle said, LOL. We've got Be a Blessing said, great conversation. Franchise said, good convo. Still recast T'Challa. Yes. Sir Yuri G said, that was a legit good convo. Honestly, yes, it was. I thought so too. Sir Yuri G said, now, if more convos happen with recast conversations, that would be great, in my opinion. I agree. These are conversations that I think need to be being had. Franchise said, now take on to the final boss that gave E-Man smoke. I might be out of that one. I know everybody, because I've seen several comments, not just in the chats, but in videos saying for me to, I don't know on that one. Pookie Wood said, good combo for sure. Be a Blessing said, respect. Brian Gosling said, not just recast T'Challa. Or nope, just recast T'Challa. Last of my kin said, yeah, definitely have to replay this video. Sorry, Darius at work and was watching E-Man's live. Oh, no, you're fine. I appreciate you guys, even coming over. I figured on Fridays, I know E-Man goes live. A lot of people are watching E, so I definitely understand. But I appreciate you being here. Hungry Almighty said, hey, or he did brought up something really interesting, though. Marvel didn't recast Iron Man or Cap because they don't care. Does that mean after Secret Wars we will never see Tony and Steve Rogers played by different? Honestly, with this current, that's what I was kind of saying with the comparison to House of Dragon. It's an ongoing story. It's a connected story. Honestly, with the story that the current MCU is telling, until they reboot, the characters that are gone, unless the characters that we've seen actually die, not like Wanda, who we didn't see die, or characters like that. The characters we've actually seen die, I don't think that we are going to see them again after certain events, like Secret Wars and things like that. And again, you're probably thinking, how do you tell those stories then from the comics? That's the question. That is the question. But as I've said, the MCU is telling a connective story, and it's just kind of like House of Dragon. Although we did not see Rhaenyra in Game of Thrones, she is mentioned. And although we don't see, and seeing some of the Lannisters in House of Dragon and some of the relationships that are formed in House of Dragon, it's a connective story. So the connective story that the MCU is telling, I don't see that happening. D Stizzle said, sit down and shut up isn't an option, never will be. Be a Blessing said 100. Last of my kin said, close mouths don't get fed. Nope. So the movement isn't going anywhere. It's sad when the fans have to fight for a character we have had for decades in comics, thanks to Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. That is very true. Last of my kin said, they'll be turning in their grave seeing what their company is doing. ADCTW, appreciate you being here. I don't think recast T'Challa. I don't think erasing T'Challa in the comics. I believe, the reason I said that is because look at Darcy. They're starting to make the comics reflect what the MCU is doing. They've now put the character of Darcy in Wanda's Scarlet Witch's newest comic. So if they're starting to if they're kind of adapting the comics to the way the MCU is going, does that mean that they're going to take T'Challa out of his comic books? I mean, they've already taken him out of Avengers Campus and replaced him with Shuri, showing that T'Challa is gone. He's been taken out of video games. So are we going to actually see him taken out of his comic books? Last of my kin said, Jon Stewart, I can't wait to see him. Sure, he's going to make good money after this with T'Challa. I'm excited for the Jon Stewart stuff. D Stizzle said, fans also want that Netflix canon in the MCU, but that would have been a lot of baggage. I agree. Let's see. Let me see. Raymond 2000 said, I would love for you to go on. Oh, that's the one everybody's talking about, and give all three of them. I don't know if I can with that though. Raymond Kenny Pierce said, I was switching back and forth the whole time, like every 15 minutes. Appreciate you being here, Kenny. Grace said, Marvel gonna look stupid if DC jumps on Red Lion and Vixen. Yep. Especially, I'm telling you. Planet Poppy said there's a whole Gamora variant running around right now. Very true. That is very true. Last of my kin said Conan is a Marvel character. Isn't he like the Conan that Arnold? Are you saying Schwarzenegger played? That he's Marvel. I don't. Is that the same one? Is it the same iteration? I'm not sure. Hungry Almighty said Marvel needs to do what DC is about to do, one interconnected universe of movies that shows but and shows, but then movies that are outside the continuity, like Batman with Robert Pattinson. Right. Yeah. DC still got their own thing going on, even with the Joker and, Joker 2 and all that stuff. We've got Hungry Almighty that said Marvel needs to do what. Oh, I just read that. Sorry. Dre and Jay said one of T'Challa's best things coming into the Black Panther was avenging his father's death. Who the hell is T'Challa Jr. Gonna avenge for his father's death? The doctors? Man. Yeah. Just not interested in anything they do with him. Grace said that's a 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy game of Gamora. Yeah, that's true too. Last My Kin said, Poppy, I heard the actor playing Gamora is done after Guardians of the Galaxy 3. She did touch on that a few days ago. Pookie Wood said, Raymond, someone willing needs to give those folks the biz. Listen, I was at one point subscribed to them. I have unsubscribed. Like when they, I don't know. Nah. Raymond 2, last of my kin said, I couldn't spell his name. Yeah, that's why I thought. I'm not sure if that's the same iteration or not. Brian Ben said, bruh, if James Gunn makes the milestone characters, Mr. Terrific, Jon Stewart, moved again, Vixen, Aldous Hodges, Hawkman looks fire. Marvel's gonna have to recast the first black superhero. We've got Raymond that said, the girls are back. Oh yeah, the mods. Do I have mods in here? Or do I have the, what? No, I don't see anybody in here right now. Daniel Ben said, until they recast T'Challa, I'm not interested in the BP franchise going forward. Same. D. Stizzle said, pretty sure Cunning character is owned by Robert E. Howard Estate. That's why he's been at Marvel Comics, Dark Horse, back at Marvel, a few publishers. I like Dark Horse, especially when they team up with Lucasfilm. Hungry Almighty said, so little TJ is going to get all the T'Challa stories. Does that mean we're going to get a young Storm instead of an adult Storm when the MCU X-Men come? I don't know. That has been a question out there. Are we going to see Storm, a younger Storm, where she is going to... I don't know. And honestly, do I care? Not really. I don't know what it means. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And then Raymond said, maybe that's just on mine. Daniel said, bruh, all these black actors with talent being slept on. Yes, it's very true. Very true. Please, no young Storm. I agree. I don't want a young Storm either. Don't want it. Last of my kin said, after seeing the poster of Black Panther and White Tiger, I want to see a trailer of that because who they using Shuri. Hope not. I'm sure Shuri's gonna be it. D. Sizzle said, Axterius, love the Dark Horse Star Wars era comics. Yeah, bro, that stuff is... That's some good material, man. Great material. D. Sizzle, have you read this? Now that we're kind of... Have you read this one? The Thrawn... let me go back to my big screen. The Thrawn Ascendancy book. It's a good book. This is a good one. Anything with Thrawn, honestly, I love, so... But yeah, that is what's going on. That's what's going on. We had our topics here tonight. Obviously we talked the Spider-Verse stuff that I'm excited about, as you guys know. Trey and I actually debated on that one, so I'm excited for that. The Phase 6-7 rumored slate, things that may be confirmed and rumored, things to come for Phase 6 and 7. Talked about that tonight. There were some projects that I'm like, I don't know if they're going to do that. There's some projects that I'm hoping that they do that I am excited for. We talked about, obviously, the X-Men and the Fox X-Men coming into the big plan for Secret Wars and Kevin Feige's plan with that. Talked about the Fantastic Four plot leak, and obviously had our discussion there with Jaded. So it's been obviously not the way that the stream, I wanted to end the stream because we were all supposed to be here, but Q ended up having to take off to take care of some business. Trey's had to take care of some business, and it is Kellen's birthday, so he is out with family and friends tonight. So everybody wish Kellen a happy birthday. But as far as everything here, that is our topics for the day. That's what we got. Cornelius said go to 1 a.m. Ha ha ha. I've been on about to be 4. That would be going till 5. I can't though, because my little nephew is across. If he's still awake, my little nephew is across the street, and I would like to. Haven't seen him all week. I was gotten him some basketball shoes, so I'd like to take those over to him, so I can go see my boy. So, yeah. I'll let you guys meet my little nephew too. He was gonna do an outro video for us. He was gonna be our outro. He has a Flash costume that I got him for Halloween once, and he can still fit it, I think. And he was going to do like the like and subscribe thing that be at the end of videos where he tells people like and subscribe, and then my producer was gonna edit it to where it looked like he was running. Yeah, we were gonna do that. But you guys can meet my little Madden sometime. That's my buddy. He's on the kids react to Buzz Lightyear video we did. He's in that one. He's in that video. But like I said, I do want to go see him, and I'll let Kellen know that you guys are all telling him happy birthday. I'm sure he'll definitely appreciate it. And as always, I appreciate all of you guys being here. I appreciate Jaded coming on. I appreciate Chill even making that connection with the two of us last night, making that happen. I appreciate that. And like I said, we'll be back with you guys I'll be back tomorrow. I'm live with Chillmonger tomorrow on his channel, so I'll be there. If anybody wants to come over to Chill's channel, just a reminder, please come over there and hang out with us as he does his 33 Burning Question stream, and he's going to ask us questions. We're going to hang out, have a good time. So I'd say definitely come check that out. And we will be back, the cast will be back with you guys next week on Monday, where we will be with you guys for new hot topics and things like that. I think one of those days next week, what I'm going to try to do is where we don't do a topic day, but we do a day where it's like a segment, like I said, where we either hang out and do an open mic with you guys, or something where we are doing call-ins, because I still want to do the call-ins. I want to do the call-ins. Where we're doing call-ins, or something like where we're doing best movie, worst movie type of something. I don't know. Playing games the whole time and getting the chat involved. Things like that. So, so we'll be back next week. I'll be back tomorrow with Chill, and I appreciate all you guys being here. So, but as I always say, I hope you guys like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Hope you guys have a great, blessed weekend. Hope you guys all stay safe. I hope it's warm where you are, because it's freezing where I am. Like, I have a space heater down here right now because I refuse to turn on my heat. They're not about to charge me. But I have my space heater down here, and it's cold, bro. It's cold. So I hope you guys are staying warm. I hope you guys enjoy your holidays with Thanksgiving coming up and everything. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video.